Hi everyone. What's up, chat? How you doing?
Hi.
Hello.
This is the very professional vampire podcast we do, the Beckoning Podcast, with my wonderful friends Primogen, Huddy, and Harry Salubricat. What's up? How are you all? It's been too long.
Things have been crazy. I think
Harry
I can
wants
speak
to
for
start.
all of us when I can say things have been fucking crazy. But yeah, our very professional podcast. I rolled out of bed into this. It's okay. I'm ready to go. I've got a lot to say about choice of games. Yeah, I'm at college now, so I'm working my butt off, but that's okay.
Hell yeah.
And he rolled out of bed at 9 a.m. on a Saturday for this.
Yes.
Well, I
college.
rolled out of bed at 7:30 on a Saturday because I can never remember if it's 5 hours or 6 hours ahead in England because I'm an idiot. And so...
Fair enough. Well, thank you. I don't think in college I ever saw 5 a.m. unless I saw 1, 2, 3, 4 a.m. first.
Unless 5 a.m. is right when you fell asleep, right?
Yeah.
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 Waking up a single-digit number? That's so weird.
That is. Right. The plan today, everyone, is to list off a bunch of amazing games that we've played, or not so amazing. I don't know how these lot feel about them, but that's what we're going to figure out. We've got the Shadows of New York visual novel that came out, the how would you describe it? Choose Your Own Adventure? Like,
Yeah, that's how I describe it.
Visual novel,
Yeah,
I would
it's
say.
still a visual
Oh, yeah. For Shadows of New York, it's definitely a visual novel.
Yeah. And then Night Road, which
That's the Choose Your Own Adventure.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely.
And soon to arrive is Hearts of the Forest, which there's been a demo, which I think we've all played.
Yeah.
Did you manage to play that, Harry?
Oh, you're muted.
Muted. There we go.
Problems. Sorry.
I thought maybe he fell back asleep.
Did you play Heart of the Forest demo?
No, not yet.
Ah, okay.
I am yet to. I will get around to it, though.
Ooh, you would love it, though. It's great.
Where did we want to start? Because
there's been more. I would like to talk about like the comics and stuff. Like I think there's so much stuff.
where did I put that?
Yeah,
I think it's
Winter's Teeth.
Teeth.
on my bookshelf.
Do you have a physical copy of it, Josh?
I had a physical
I'm
copy
jealous.
delivered to me by my friendly local comic shop, which
so
obviously,
jealous.
because it's in England, is all part of the same giant comic shop, but they've all got different.
In my city, there's two comic shops. Neither of them are selling it.
In my city, there...
Oh, sorry, Harry. Yeah.
Oh, I was going to say, in my city, there was one comic shop, and it was pretty cool, but then it closed and got replaced with a store that sells only beef jerky.
Oh yeah, I remember.
yeah, I
You mentioned the
remember
beef
saying.
jerky store.
It's
yeah.
the weirdest
We'll
thing.
jerk it for you.
What?
We'll beef it. No, we'll beef it. You want jerky? We'll beef it. Again, that was a long time ago.
They sell alligator jerky.
Oh, man.
It's
I heard
bizarre.
alligator is supposed to be.
Alligator's actually really good.
Yeah, I've heard it's supposed
Yeah,
to
it's
be
like gamier chicken.
Oh, game.
It is.
All right.
Yeah,
It's good
real
fried.
good.
And yeah.
I mean, it's meat. It tastes like chicken.
Well, when you live in the South, like I lived in the South for several years, there's gators everywhere.
Yeah.
They just
Should
run
do
around.
something about those gators.
They are kind of a problem, actually. Like,
Yeah, they just run across highways and they get into people's pools
Okay,
everywhere.
because
Pests.
one of my friends was like, "Yeah, I go on walks around Florida, and I just have to have a gun with me because I'm out in the wilderness and I might get mauled by a gator." I'm like,
Or
We're
40 to
fine.
60 wild hogs, you know.
or by a python, actually, because
I'd be worried more about the snakes.
the pythons
God, yeah.
are interesting because they aren't native. Somebody introduced them as pets, and people like to have them as pets, but then they get, 10 feet long. People are like, I don't know what to do with this, and so they just toss them out into the swamp, and now the government pays you for every
Mother
python you
Nature
kill.
will deal with it.
wow. Why would people not know what to do with a 10-foot long python? Like, that's the coolest pet.
Yeah, that's
ride
like
that.
peak python. You'd work hard to get there. Why drop it then? Man, the most dangerous thing you'd find in Sweden is a mushroom, actually. We don't have any wildlife that's dangerous here.
You don't
we
have
have-
wild boars?
I mean, technically, yes, we have wild boars, but they're not that big or dangerous.
Oh,
We've
You're
got,
crazy.
You can eat. We have the red cap mushrooms here. You eat that, you're dead.
yeah, we've got
You fall
poisonous
over.
mushrooms. We got poisonous wildlife and berries and stuff like that.
Yeah.
People eat those, but we have adders, which are kind of poisonous snake.
They're-
I almost
yeah,
got
kind
bitten
of
by one.
poisonous.
Ooh.
So that was fun.
Yeah.
They're gorgeous.
That
And
the-
they look really
a
cool
zig-
when they're going.
Is that the zigzag ones? Do you have those?
I what?
Zigzag patterns on them? Or is it a
adder,
different one?
we don't. The only poisonous snake we have in England, as far as I know, is the adder and their diamond patterns.
All right.
Like
All right. Yeah,
British
then I think we
diamond.
have the same one in Sweden too. Like
Yeah.
it's dangerous for smaller animals and kids, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Most.
Well,
of,
I mean, it's not great, but for anyone. This is an interesting topic of discussion.
it's totally the same as vampires.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah.
Yeah, we've
Where do we start? Shadows of New York?
I did finish that one. Have we all finished Shadows of New York?
Yes.
Yes.
Perfect. So
Harry?
Yes.
Oh, okay.
good. Okay, in that case, if you haven't finished Shadows of New York, I'm assuming we'll do a non-spoiler and then a spoiler section.
Yeah, sure.
Or I mean, if I don't know, just consider it all a spoiler section. Why not?
Yeah.
yeah.
Mute it now.
Don't, please.
Yeah,
Oh, yeah,
please
mute
leave
it, but
that.
stay around so we get the revenue. I'm sorry.
Oh, Prim.
I'm in a great mood today. I don't know what it is.
Yeah. Well, speaking of great
You're in a really
moods,
goofy mood.
we can
Yeah.
talk about Shadows of New York, which is a great mood. I feel.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I loved it through the entire game. I had a great time playing it.
Yeah, which makes a difference since the last game
Yeah.
has a
Oh, boy,
notoriously bad ending, and I did finish that so I
Yeah.
could play Shadows of New York, and I agree. But the rest of the game's pretty good, Coteries. But Shadows is pretty damn solid the whole way through.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
I would say so, yeah.
Yeah.
I would say that Julia was given all the Sombras a run for their money in terms of sarcasm
Oh yeah,
and witty one-liners. That's
know-
pretty good.
I kept thinking about Marie when I was playing her.
So was
Yeah,
I.
me too.
I was like, she can learn a thing or two from Julia.
Yeah. I streamed myself live playing and finishing Coteries of New York, and I want to go back and look at my facial expression at the end because I don't think I actually followed what was going on because half of the characters showing up there, I was like, I don't know who these are.
Well, I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna talk about it. I don't care. In Stitch of Fate, Josh, is it like cool for you to be having all the characters from New York?
it's so cool.
I loved it. Yeah.
So Mathis was like, yeah, I
Kadir
really
was in
like.
the last episode.
Yeah, I really like the whole New York dynamic with all the characters, and I quite like them. Kadir's sexy,
Yeah.
and then he was like, "Don't worry about the ending. It's just ignore it. It's not canon." so we're not playing with that canon ending,
Oh, thank God.
and he
Coteries.
hasn't played Shadows yet, but I think he should because it's really cool.
Yes.
Why hasn't
Yes.
he played Shadows yet? It's like
He's just
Coteries,
really
but
busy.
better in every way. Oh, yeah, well, that makes sense.
Yeah, he must be insanely busy.
Oh, yeah.
No, he wants to, and I think I can force him into doing it. But yeah, Stitch of Fate is really cool to play with, especially Larson, who was my favorite character, and I didn't interact with him much when I.
You mean
played.
Edward Norton in a jogging? What was it called?
Yeah.
Oh yeah,
The
yeah.
jogging
He's,
set.
And his
Jogging.
hair is like.
Zip up. Yeah.
zip up.
such a-
I mean, you get to say that you're part of his clan.
yeah.
Wow, really? Air quotations for clan, Prim? Is that how we're starting this off?
I mean, you might as well say, mammals are a species.
Oh my God. You mean like just like the Caitiff clan? Horrible.
Panders.
You're gonna have-
Worst.
You're gonna have my chat after you for that, Prim. Sorry.
I'm sorry. I just don't see why. I mean, there's a reason dogs have pedigrees, right?
Oh my God.
Okay.
Sean is gonna
Whoa.
eat your ass. Not like that. He is gonna
maybe like that.
Maybe like that. I mean, maybe
street rat riffraff. You know, it's. Of course, they have all kinds of different abilities. They're a mixture of everything. It's crazy. There's no rhyme or reason to the Thimbloods.
My God.
Shots fired.
Yeah, shots fired. Prim's in a really weird mood today.
He
clearly.
is.
I'm just having a great day.
Are you
Just having
though?
a great day ragging on Thinbloods.
Look, I'm called the Primogen. I'm not called the.
They have a Primogen. It's Larson.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Sure.
Wow.
He's a Primogen.
Yeah.
That's
Okay.
good.
Okay.
That's really good.
Okay. Focus on the game. Let's talk about the actual. Sorry, chat. Sorry. If I get the chance to play a Thinblood, maybe I will change my opinion. If I get the chance to storytell for a Thinblood, maybe I'll change my opinion. But not a single one of my 15 players picked Thinbloods. So I don't know.
I don't know why. Thinbloods are amazing. Really fun to play.
Yeah.
Best edition.
I bet they are.
Edition.
I got a weird.
You
Oh,
go.
there we go. I got a weird echo there. Sorry. Yeah, I can totally imagine that. And they do get the lion's share of merits and flaws too, which is perhaps why I subconsciously hold a grudge against them. I want to have nubby little fangs too. Why can't I have that?
Nubby little fangs.
The little baby
Thinbloods are a lot
fangs.
of fun.
Yeah.
They're
Yeah. You played a
legitimately really
Thinblood,
cool.
didn't you, Harry?
I
In something?
did. In Blood City, Chicago by Night.
Yeah, I
did.
know. I
played-
saw you as a Thin-blooded something. I couldn't remember
Yeah.
what it was though.
Yeah. Yeah. I played with you like once. Or
Yeah,
did-
then I took your place.
Yes. Good. It's good.
I stole Chris's spot on that. Not really.
I got so busy and it just hasn't stopped since.
Yeah, obviously.
I think the reason I'm so happy is just because it's been so long. I'm happy being the four of us together again. It was so
Yeah,
empty
I
without
miss these
Huddy.
podcasts, man. Yeah. I'm very sorry we didn't do one last month.
Yeah, September.
Everybody was busy.
Yeah.
But
You
Everyone's
guys,
like,
you guys want to catch up to me? I've already read the Venture book. I've started the Sombra book already.
oh
wow.
I've got to
yeah, I gotta read.
catch up on.
But speaking of La Sombra, let's talk about Shadows of New York.
Finally, yeah.
It takes place both before and after Coteries of New York, but only briefly before. Yeah, because you get embraced before. I do believe you get embraced before Coteries of New York.
That might make sense. Yeah.
Yeah, at least you get embraced in 2019. I remember it as much.
Yeah, because Shadows is specifically set in 2020,
Yeah,
which is the perfect year for La Sombra to do awful things.
it is.
Yeah.
It is. And I think this game really does a good job in driving home how completely isolated from the world you as a La Sombra are in the 2020s. Having no smartphone and being like, oh, moral affairs don't really concern me anymore. And it's not like I can even keep track because soon there's not even going to be free newspapers around anymore. And I think they really did a good job in portraying how being a La Sombra, how dependent you are on your, how forced you are to be dependent on your community, on your mortal allies or ghouls, if that's what you have. And I think that as a general, I think they did an amazing job of making a character that's relatable and has motivations that are extremely understandable.
Yeah,
Because
it's
a lot of sorry.
no, it's just like compared to Coteries of New York, which was a kind of player character who
blank
was
slate,
entirely hollow and vacant, and you were just like doing things through them. You play as Julia, who is like, you don't get any choices about who Julia is. You get to decide what she does, and she's got a couple of different paths through the game to decide outcomes and stuff. But really, you don't get much say in who Julia is because she starts off as a journalist, very quickly stops being a journalist, and they go through one of my favorite parts of the La Sombra, which is their kind of hazing ritual to figure out whether people are worthy to be like shadow vampires, which is, we're gonna ruin your fucking life. You have to deal with that shit. I can't remember what they called it, like the something special.
Oh,
Do they have a special name for it?
I think they do. Yeah.
It might have just been
Sounds
a
like
nickname
them.
came up in the game, but yeah.
It's it also times in really well because there's mentions of Chicago, like your sire goes there once the whole ordeal is over, and from what we can gather from these context clues, Chicago seems to be where the Lasombra Amici Noctis have gathered after they've joined the Camarilla, which is interesting. Like, I would like to see an update about Chicago by night, talking about that. Because in the source book that you have, you've only got 3 Lasombra, I think. By the end of it, you got Tally, you've got
Sierra,
thank you. And then you got the priest who is
Bizarre.
Oh, no, not the priest. He's
a rabbi.
A rabbi, exactly, yeah. And those are the only ones you have. But it seems like in 2019, Chicago is the heart of Lasombra activity in North America.
I don't know if the other stuff added in, or the extra books added in, the folios added in any more Lasombra, because I haven't read that properly yet.
I think they're more...
Like, are there Tremere rituals I could use?
Perfect.
But yeah, I think... So this is going to come up a couple of times. Both this game and Night Road do a pretty good job of tying themselves into the 5th edition world of all the other games, all the other books even. But it's all like passing context for stuff that if you're just playing the game, you don't really need to know. And I appreciate that as someone who can read a little bit deeper into the situation. But I think it allows for people to explore the vampire world of New York a little bit more on their own, because Julia is isolated, like you say. Like, that's a big theme where like you learn relatively late on that the woman she lives with, who's like not a vampire, she's just a normal mortal woman, just or I guess it's her girlfriend, right? Might have manipulated and isolated her like while they got together, and like you've got to decide how you feel about that possibility as a vampire, now that I guess in some sense you've been given extra strength to manipulate your surroundings with. And it's just an interesting flip that just because you're a vampire doesn't mean you're the worst person in the room, which is
absolutely
really, really cool, I think. And that happens a lot, I think. I wanted to ask everyone how they felt about like the ridiculously sudden inclusion of the pandemic in the game, because it's just like, there's no one around. What's up with that? And then some guy's like, the fuck, why are you out here? The burger joint is closed. There's a pandemic happening. Do you live under a rock? And it was kind of out of nowhere, I felt.
I can have like a little bit of insider, because I had one of the developers in my live chat when I was streaming it.
Oh yeah.
And he basically said that, at the time that they were making the game, for most of it, they were at home. And, the only way they were getting information was through the internet. And they were feeling like Julia was like, Julia doesn't have that option, right? So Julia would just wake up one day, and it would actually seem that way to her. And they thought it would be a good idea to put in the pandemic for that exact reason. That, of course, it's happening in real time, but also that Julia wouldn't be, reading things about something going on in China, and then something going on here, and something going on here, and then there's a pandemic. She couldn't. She would have to actually like go interact with these, other kindred that are hanging around, who likely probably aren't watching the news that closely either. Well, why would they?
I think that scene in itself, I didn't have too much issue with. Like, personally, I think I mentioned this in my review of it as well. I would not I made a conscious decision for my games not to have COVID happening, because I think I want to divorce the worlds a little more, and you never know, one of your players might come down with it, or maybe a close relative recently passed away. I think it's a little bit of a minefield in that regard. But I really did not like the ending when you go out with your car and she starts talking about how people in New York are going out of New York and spreading it around, because that's part of that ending. Spoiler, but they mentioned that, and I felt that was very crass, the way that was written. It's like, oh, so people from New York are now going across America and spreading COVID-19. I was like,
for the record, that's not actually the case.
Well, there were a lot of people who were in New York, maybe not from New York City, but who go down to the South.
Yes,
who do that. That's a thing. They do that.
Oh yeah,
even during
yeah, but it's still. I don't know.
I followed local news of where I used to live, and a lot of people you read in the comments saying I was at this Walmart or this Waffle House, because it's the South, saying I see all these plates from New York, all these plates from Massachusetts, all these plates from Connecticut, and this was like back in March, April.
Sounds about right.
Oh, license plates.
License plates.
What are they looking at other people's?
We don't know if you know this, Josh, Chris. It's an American tradition to bring your own state monogrammed dish to restaurants with you.
Yeah. Well, I mean,
excuse me, license plate.
For a second, I'll be honest. For a second, I was also like, why would they have their? Oh.
Harry knew what I meant, right, Harry?
Yes, I did know entirely what you meant.
But it's I think it can, because what you're doing when you're doing something like that is you're making a time capsule, right? Because this game is going to be around.
Yeah.
You have no idea of predicting the consequences of this disease. You have no way of predicting the ramifications of it, which is why I would be sensitive to that kind of thing that's so close to what is happening right now. I mean, it's also like if you... I think it's just a topic that can easily backfire on you in that regard. And I mean, it's been 40 years almost since the AIDS pandemic. You don't see people making games about that. Like you see movies, but those are usually from a sympathetic perspective. Like it's, I don't know. I don't want to have real world stuff in my games, I guess.
So
no, sure. Yeah, I get that. Sorry, Josh, go ahead.
Oh, no, that's all right. I was just thinking, if you played Vampire with a Y, that entire thing was about a pandemic.
It was about the last pandemic we had, the Spanish influenza.
Spanish flu.
And it's a fantastic game. Well, it's the dialogue and the character tree system is very good. Combat is a little iffy.
The combat is what got me, man. I had such trouble with it.
I hated the combat.
And the fact that there's enemies that scale to your level, even though the whole point is you're trying to you're trying to determine whether or not you want to be a super powerful vampire or a good person. But even if you go down the vampire route, it's just as difficult.
Yeah. That annoyed me too.
Yeah, it's... Well, I mean, my point, I guess, was that game is entirely about the...
Spanish flu.
The Spanish flu. And whereas the Shadows incorporation of COVID seems just like a little bit, and it's a thing.
Yeah.
And especially with the combination of the fact that there are characters manipulating truth in the game in ways that hurt a lot of people. Like your girlfriend believes in QAnon. I didn't like Dakota and the conspiracy theory thing. That really got on. I really didn't like that. Yeah, that was my least favorite thing. And
hi Outstar.
Hi Outstar.
Everyone say hi, quick. Hi.
Greetings, Outstar.
It was a weird take on it as well, because I imagine the writer was trying to portray some kind of why would a person possibly believe in these wild conspiracy theories, and it was sort of justified as this kind of metaphysical truth is more easier easier to consume and easier to incorporate into the context of most people's daily lives, which is kind of weak. In my opinion. It was super kind of blasé about the whole fact that these vast networks of far-right people are trying to spam the internet with conspiracy theories to get people to vote for Donald Trump or whatever. Like there's
like the left is both simultaneously, full of drooling idiots, but also manufactured this virus so Donald Trump would get sick right before the election at the same time.
Yeah.
What can I say? All us leftists are virologist savants.
Yeah, we're epidemiologists as well as drooling morons.
Where did you all get your degrees? I was sent one.
Self-taught in my garage.
Self-taught in my garage.
Oh no, but I agree with you, Josh. That I think it definitely, and I agree with you, Hadi, and what the developer said, that it adds a layer of realism to it that makes World of Darkness is our world but darker. But when you go into these very specific things, because there used to be, people say that World of Darkness never went into the real world. That's a lie. It did many times, badly. I think I mentioned before how they made the sarin gas in Tokyo. Yeah, the sarin gas attack in Tokyo that killed like 200 people. They put that in one of their books and said a vampire did it. So like, I
didn't know that. That's awful.
Yeah. They stepped on a lot of toes, but like, I feel like these kind of things, especially when you're writing from an outside perspective, because this is not an American company making it, it's easy to get a little bit like, oh, it's part of the story when it's the part of people's everyday lives, I guess.
Yeah, can I say something to this really quick? I feel like Draw Distance, they really have had the pulse on, for a lot of this series, Coteries and Shadows, they had the pulse on the American ideology really well for being a company all the way in Poland. That conspiracy nonsense, that QAnon stuff. I'm sure Harry runs into them all the time. There are so many people who you will have a regular, everyday, normal conversation with who are from America, and they'll bring up these conspiracy theories as if they're fact, as if it's normal to talk about nonsense like that.
No, around here, because like where I am, in Saratoga Springs, it's a very wealthy town because, racetracks and all that. But around it is like some of the poorest parts of America. And I see every time I drive, there's like, I can easily see a dozen Q bumper stickers or, where we go one, we go all bumper stickers, stuff like that. I mean, it's really surprising because it seems so insane from an outside perspective. And you think, there's no way that anybody could really believe this. It must be like a few hundred people across the whole country. But no, it's like 1 in 5. Like 1 in 5 people.
Well, I think the statistic, the last one was 1 in 4 people in America believes those. I think it was 1 in 4.
Yeah.
And that's a lot of
people. Here.
Because there's 300 million people in America. We have whole radio programs dedicated, like Alex Jones.
I know.
Who doesn't believe, that like little kids were shot in Sandy Hook a few years ago.
Alex Jones is a guy with. He doesn't like gay frogs, I've heard.
Yeah. He thinks the Democrats want to make everyone gay by putting stuff in the water that makes you gay, stuff like that.
Honestly, sounds a little fun. Let's be honest.
It's neither here nor there.
Exactly like you said, Harry. For someone like me living in Sweden, it's baffling, mind-boggling that this is mainstream.
Yeah.
I think that's it. It's mainstream, and in that sense, I guess, like you said, Hadi, they really capture. Yeah, some people will believe in this stuff, and I think related to that, the conversation you have with the Dutch Malkavian, who's apparently
Van der Weyden,
when he talks about 9/11. And the New York spirit.
Who's that guy? Who's that guy in New York?
The comedian.
The radio host.
Right.
God damn it!
Are you talking about someone like an NPR or?
No.
It was this.
You're too young. He's a guy with long black curly hair and always wore glasses. But he had this radio show forever.
it's
Howard
the
Stern.
special.
Howard Stern, yeah.
Howard Stern.
My dad listens to him in the car, and
God.
yeah,
Headphones.
yep.
But yeah, and that is like for me that was a super interesting, I guess, monologue, you could say, because it's like you said, they have really gone deep into the kind of people who live in New York City, kind of people who live in America.
It goes
Yeah.
and you're absolutely right, it goes beyond New York City. In 9/11 I was like 12, 13 years old when that happened.
Yeah.
And they flew out of the airport right by where I was in school.
Yeah.
And I remember that. I remember everyone getting out of school, evacuating, and then everything after that was like, no, we can't call them French fries, it's freedom fries. And
Freedom
everything
toast.
had freedom toast, right? Not French toast. And everything was like about America and hanging tough. And even if the facts weren't real, even with what you were hearing from the 24-hour news cycle wasn't real. Exactly like with Howard Stern, where he's like, we should just go over and turn him into a parking lot. And Americans would get up and they'd cheer that.
Yeah.
That was the mentality then.
Yeah. I mean, post 9/11, I think it's a really, I don't really remember it because I was one, but my point, I think post 9/11, it's an entire nation and a large chunks of the world traumatized. And there is an undercurrent of PTSD in New York City, like a huge undercurrent. Like everybody from there knows people who died. I know people who died, or family friends who died. And it's right about like this sort of spirit of overcoming. New York really does have it sounds a little like romantic and dramatic, but it's true. New Yorkers are fucking tough. They got through it. And you're right, Huddy. Initially, like everybody went a little bit crazy for like the next 10 years.
Democrats, Hillary Clinton wanted to go to war. I mean, it was everybody.
Everybody.
Literally Rudy Giuliani was a national hero.
Yeah.
It was a weird time, man.
Yeah. It just leads credence to the whole like America is in its teenage years. Because like we've had I'm not going to compare the attack we had on one of our main streets in Stockholm a couple of years back. Some guy was driving a truck down the street, just mowing down people.
Was that during a Christmas time?
No, this was in Easter. This was in Easter time. We had a guy in Christmas time, but he accidentally blew himself up before he could get to anyone. Yeah, thankfully, because that was mid Christmas shopping. But this guy went down one of the busiest streets in Stockholm midday before the Easter holiday on a Friday, and he killed a couple. God, that sounded bad. He killed people, including a very young girl. And our reaction, Sweden's reaction, was not like, oh, kill it. But instead, everyone just got together. It was flowers. It was, we can't let this determine our course of reaction. I'm not trying to say that Sweden's reaction was better or that, but it's like, you got
it was better.
It was better.
But it's not the same as 3,500.
Yeah, it's also a different circumstance with like a very visible monument.
Yeah, but
American society.
It hasn't defined this street or people in Stockholm or even people working there anymore. And this was 3 years ago, I think 2-3 years ago. And I think just America post 9/11 still going on. Everyone is still thinking about the attack on America in 2001.
And the mentality is so different there. So what I wanted to say also about the COVID thing adding in, as much as I agree with Dakota being the weird conspiracy person, so New York, or so America rather, the COVID thing, I personally am not a fan of including it into the game. I understand why they did it, and I don't think it's something that you should like not play the game over. But I think if they were an American company making it, they probably wouldn't have done it.
Yeah.
Absolutely. I would have never seen this coming from an American company. You're right.
No. Because I don't know what the death toll is in Poland. I don't know how it's affected Poland personally, but America's been hit pretty hard with it.
200K.
Yeah. Sorry, Josh.
No, I was just going to say it feels like it came very late in the cycle, because I imagine they started developing this soon before or after the launch of Coteries, because it uses reuses some stuff from that, and I feel like because of that, it was a very small addition that I don't feel added a lot to the overall message of the game, because while it did add an interesting atmosphere to the later part of the game where there were less people around, like literally you get away with a masquerade breach, you like break someone's legs in the street because there's no one around. But overall, I guess it just mostly adds a context to the actual development more than the story that the game's telling, which I'm not overly against it. It's just kind of a very lukewarm thing to add.
Yeah.
I agree. It would have been much different if then she goes to the art hole, goes to Elysium, and they're panicking, trying to get in touch with all of their retainers, trying to get them somewhere away, from people who have been infected. If it increased the gameplay in some way, a sense of urgency, a sense of fear in some way would have been better than just
absolutely
nothing.
And if you go the dark path, like if you go with that ending, it has no bearing on the story after that.
Which is weird, because I feel like it could have tied into like the main part of the game, which is literally, what do you want the truth to be? Because there's so many lies and there's so much misinformation about COVID, and people are being misled on a daily basis, no matter like where you live, whether it's America or in Poland or where I'm from. It's like it could have been part of the main narrative, but it possibly came too late while they were writing it. I don't really know. But
I don't either.
It didn't really add anything. No. But can we talk about the fact that the achievements call the endings good and bad?
Yeah, absolutely. Can I just address something in the chat really quickly though? Just for the sake of context, Sweden hasn't been at war or been attacked in the last 190 years. Just as because it was mentioning about how Europe has been bombed, Sweden never got attacked in either of the world wars. So it's could be that though.
And I'm coming from an English perspective, where we had the London bombings, we had waves upon waves of Islamophobia. It's still basically institutionalized in the way we reacted after 9/11, because we were so closely related to America. Like that's like context for my perspective. It's
George Bush and Tony Blair were like BFFs.
Both
nice. and there is Islamophobia in Sweden as well, quite a bit. So it's not like everyone's fine and in Sweden. It's
no, it's here in Germany too, of course, especially after the refugee crisis.
But we were going back to it. Sorry for doing that. But the good and bad endings. Which one was the good one? Was that the dark ending?
The dark ending was the good one.
Julia used her journalistic training to piece together fragments of half information that she'd managed to glean by breaking legs, stealing, having temper tantrums.
Standard journalistic practice.
Gone of journalism. Just get really into it.
First day of journalism school, they give you a lead pipe and say, "Go get some facts.
Go crack some skulls."
Very Transmetropolitan. If you've read that one, Spider Jerusalem, just beating the crap out of people and learning the truth.
God.
And you weave together this half-truth narrative to basically shift the blame from maybe you and definitely someone else to someone that's part of the Camarilla who's just going to get killed, and you take their place. Like I felt that way out.
I felt a pretty good ending. I was like, why him? Why?
Because he was convenient.
Most expendable, I guess. Van der Weyen is like an established character. He was one of the potential candidates for Princeton as well. Like if you go back and read New York by Night,
it's established in the game as well. Like
he
was clearly a power player of some sort.
But man, I feel like that was so well done because I knew who had done it. That was so easy to figure out. Like you had your theories, right? Right, everyone had. But that didn't matter because that wasn't the point.
Oh, yeah.
The point was, what are we going to do about it? And like, how can I spin this into my advantage? And I think they really nailed that ending.
Mm. And the Sombra clan was the perfect one for it.
Yeah. They definitely nailed the giving into, you know, the essence of who the Sombra are at their core as the good ending.
And it's something I touched upon in my review too about the cycle of Julia, how she constantly gets into a new situation. She's super excited about it, but very quickly she goes into humdrum and stagnation, and she's passive, a listener, an observer, and how that happened with her journalism, that happened with her relationship partly. It happened with her becoming a vampire. Even by the end of the investigation into this murder, it kind of feels like she sort of loses interest in it in a little sense. So I think it's really nice that she breaks out of it and she actually goes on the offensive, and she's in a situation from now on. I think she even says that, where she's never perfectly safe, which is exactly the environment she thrives in, which is just great storytelling.
Yeah. You know, there's something about riding the edge that just, you know, keeps her unalive.
Yeah.
Which is awesome. I personally like the bad ending, but that's just me.
Yeah, I like
because they go to LA. That's why I like it.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I guess. Well,
that's your ballpark.
Of course, that's why I like it.
It's weird because one's called the good ending, and you like take your place and you become like a super powerful vampire politician. The other one is the bad ending, where you escape. You don't find out anything of worth. And you kind of give up in a sense, but simultaneously it's not really about that. The good part of the bad ending is you get to leave with your girlfriend and parts of your, I guess, humanity intact. And even though she's like creepy and weird and believes in QAnon and like dresses up like you.
Yeah, I'm not saying I love Dakota. I'm not saying that. I think she was a great character, but
one thing about that though, that I never really caught on, that she completely, like, I don't think she believed in it so much as she accepted it as a vision of, like, for me, when she talked about it, it felt like she was very much, this is a version of reality, and I'm choosing to believe in this, rather than that she was convinced that this is actually how it was. Like her entire dialogue about how we define reality from context and from other people, which I felt was even weirder, because she didn't even feel like she was, you know, fooled into thinking about it. She made a conscious choice to believe in QAnon.
Now that is what bugged me a bit, because before playing this game, I finished a 20-page paper on why QAnon, looking at it as a normal conspiracy or political movement, is probably incorrect, and the best way to look at it is as a religious movement. Nobody believes in QAnon logically. It's not like, well, reality is subjective and I choose to believe this, or, you know.
No.
Also, fun fact, vampires are part of QAnon.
Of course
they believe Hillary Clinton is a child blood-sucking vampire that, I don't know, I guess she drinks it to stay young.
I mean, at some point, you're in for a penny and for a pound.
You know.
Well, they're also like the Queen Elizabeth lizard person people, right? That's also their thing.
God.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, there's...
well, I mean, that's true, though. So I've seen some very convincing photos. Josh is just like...
No, I'm like...
I just love when conspiracy theorists like point out JPEG artifacting on like an image and are like, she's turning into a lizard. It's like, no, that's JPEG compression. Like,
God. I mean, I think really 2020 is so well defined by, like, you can literally choose a belief and you will find support for it no matter what you believe in.
Yeah.
Well, it's unprecedented, this internet social media age. It's like nothing that ever came before it. So it's not like people were running around with parchment paper and mailing it to all their neighbors.
I mean, really, though, little bit of history here. The anti-Masonic movement was a conspiracy theory that came to immense political power in the United States. Yeah, although I wouldn't say it was as unfounded, although a lot of it was. There was like a guy who was genuinely kidnapped and murdered by Freemasons.
Oh yeah.
It became a big thing.
But that's interesting too, because the Masonic conspiracy theories, you also have the Propaganda Duo in Italy, which was this lodge that was apparently all sort of Freemasonry, which was literally going to take over Italian government.
Yep.
Like Propaganda Duo is like a real Masonic conspiracy.
I mean, to be fair, like a lot of the founding fathers were Masons. Of course, then again, for the most part, like my grandfather was a Freemason.
Weren't everyone?
My father is.
Yeah, it's like it's not all. It's just a bunch of dudes who go and dress up and do rich. It's like LARP. It's weird.
It's LARP.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. And big fancy dinners.
Big fancy dinners with fun capes. And rings.
Yeah. I've known a couple of Masons. There's only one of them who is not a dickbag.
That's a really high ratio. Only 50%.
Yeah.
All the Masons I know are pretty cool, but
isn't British Masonry really closely connected to like nobility or like?
I'm not entirely sure.
Was it?
It's definitely a Christian religious movement. I'm not sure, but they all wear the little compass and.
The
measuring thingy. They wear this thing.
They wear the thing.
Like, some of them describe their favorite hobbies as Freemasonry, and I don't know. I'm always super suspicious of them, and I don't know what that means. But they're it's sort of an old boys club. It's like. Partly
playing pretend,
fancy.
Getting together with other people, having a good time, eating,
feeling superior.
In England,
it sounds like a usual vampire game to me. I don't know what
you see, all the Freemasons I know are like the nerdiest people in the world, and it's literally just an excuse for them to get together with their dorky friends and LARP for a while. Because in America, it's not full. There is a Christian element to it, but mainly the caveat is that you have to like believe in a power higher than yourself. It doesn't necessarily have to be Christian.
Yeah.
So I think it's a little more divorced from that, but it's
I mean, there's probably differences between countries as well, I'm imagining. So who knows?
It's partly a way to get connections, as far as I understand it. And in England, like I've heard the stories about Freemason conspiracies and like they want to control various stuff. I'm not convinced because I don't think any of the Masons I've met are smart enough for that. But also,
ouch. Yeah.
I mean, that's true of any conspiracy of like people conniving.
Yeah. Okay.
Two people knew about Monica Lewinsky. Two people other than the two involved, right? Nobody keeps secrets in real life. They're bad at it.
Josh, you don't think they're smart enough to take over anything? Look who is the president of the United States of America.
Who has been turned into a Greek myth about hubris.
And any kind of coup in the UK is almost impossible because they tried that fair enough. 70 years ago now. Is that like just after World War II? It didn't. It like broke up. So it's like, and that was the royals trying it. So it's entirely different perspective. But
I think they've probably gone lower and lower for every generation in how much influence they actually have.
I mean, Gerald Ford tried to do a fascist coup because he was upset about his taxes. But then the military just went to him and was like, "Can you not?" He was like, "Okay."
Wasn't that the guy who also copied like 100,000 copies of this Zionist protocol and sent it to schools?
The Protocols of the Elders of Zion. A forgery.
Now we're really down the rabbit hole
of conspiracism.
So
also,
let's go back
to motor cars.
Let's go
back to video games.
Oh my God.
Real life is depressing.
It is. And I get like it is so 2020 that you actually want to remove dark parts of our world in World of Darkness because it's too dark, man.
Yeah,
it's too dark, man. But it's one thing I really, really liked about Julia's entire situation in the Camarilla was that I didn't feel like in Coteries that I didn't feel threatened. Like I didn't feel like my existence was threatened as much as just another night in New York. Like I didn't think that Julia would get killed if she didn't fix things, which of course could have happened anyway. But that also gave it such a refreshing, relaxed approach to everything because Coteries, I always felt stressed. Coteries, playing through it the first time was an extremely stressful experience.
Yeah.
Also because they didn't explain very well the whole choosing where to go every night, which they completely fixed in Shadows because they took that away.
They took a lot of stuff away.
Oh yeah,
Shadows, which is for the better, I feel.
Yeah,
But they streamlined it, I would say.
yeah, and like every single time I talk about Shadows, I'm like, keep in mind it's a visual novel. The amount of choices you're gonna have are gonna be limited. There's a story they want to tell. They want to give you some influence over it. Sit back, enjoy the read and the beautiful art and amazing music.
And the music's so good.
Music is so
I was playing
So
it
good.
before we went live for people in the chat. It's a really good soundtrack, and I've been listening to it while playing Night Road. That and the F-Zero soundtrack, which not really
doesn't really jam with the game. And also, what's his name again? The Nosferatu in the limo.
Kaiser.
Yeah, I was gonna say something about Kane, but Kaiser. I love his character. And it was really refreshing to see a different side of him in this book because he is clear that he didn't think that Julia was worth manipulating, and that completely changed his relationship to the main character. In my opinion, he felt way more straightforward and like fuck off to Julia than he did with the newly embraced one.
I think he felt Julia was harder to manipulate than a fledgling.
Yeah.
I mean, she was still a fledgling technically, but
Did you enjoy breaking his legs, Huddy?
I did.
Yeah, me too. It was a great scene. Great scene. Sorry for hogging the spotlight here, but there's one character from the previous game into the new one that I don't think they nailed that well.
I think I know what you're going to say here, but go on.
The guy with the Jesus anime t-shirt. Oh, what's his name again? Benoit. I did not like him in this game.
No, me neither.
I think you're supposed to like him. He's supposed to be annoying.
But in the wrong way. In the previous game, he was like, oh, this guy is interesting. Like, he's onto something. And now he was just like, what is he even on about? He felt like a goofy sidekick in this game.
Can I say something?
Sure.
I almost had this feeling since I felt like everybody was slightly different than the way they were in Coteries, and so I explained that to myself that this is just from Julia's perspective. The how they're saying things and what they're actually saying is just how it's filtered through Julia.
Interesting. Yeah.
She would be ultra annoyed at Benoit.
Yeah.
She would.
Benoit. Oh yeah. But I did not like him in this game as a character. Like, of course, I didn't like him, but like I felt those scenes were pretty weak in general.
Bit long-winded.
They were long. Yeah.
He was very preachy, but he didn't actually say much. So
no. But then he came out as a Toreador in like the last encounter. Like, you actually think I believe in God? Like.
Yeah, I know. That was weird.
Okay, you like the aesthetics of Christianity? Yeah.
It's very puzzle.
Yeah, that was. I think that was my favorite scene with him. I was like, okay, yeah. I'm done with the aesthetics. Yeah. I have a Jesus fanboy T-shirt.
Yeah, you just love the stained glass, right? It's just like super dope.
Yeah, and I was like, okay, yeah, that makes more sense in hindsight now why he's acting the way he does. And maybe you catch him in Coteries in like the beginning of his obsession with Christianity, and he's in his final life before he drops it completely in Shadows. I don't know.
I'm gonna apologize if you can hear my neighbors. They're really it's a German holiday today.
Oh,
good. It's
Don't hear anything.
German reunification day when the wall came down.
Oh,
Is that
Berlin Wall came down.
Oktoberfest?
yeah.
No, that's not October.
It's October. Of course, it's October.
Yeah, it's a whole month. It's Well, normally in Munich, it's a whole month, but they are getting rowdy playing their 90s synth pop music. So
Sweet.
I love it, and I don't hear anything.
good.
If I did, I would be jamming to that. It sounds like a great time.
Sure. Maybe for Europeans, it's a great time. It just horrible to me. Like,
is it Eurodisco or Europop?
I don't know the difference. It's
Honey, you live in Germany.
I don't know I don't go to raves. I'm in my 30s, for God's sake.
You live in Germany and you don't go to raves?
What else is there to do in Germany?
The only reason Swedes go to Germany is to go to raves. Sorry.
I'm in my PJs by 9. Leave me alone.
So is everyone at the
Relatable.
rave.
Yeah, so was everyone at the rave, yeah.
Fair.
Oh,
man. But are we done with Shadows? I don't know. I keep trying to think of more
Sorry,
things.
I totally got something.
No, that's cool.
No, it's fine. No, it's fine. That wasn't a bit. I was like, what,
I think there
what
was
else can I
one
talk
other
about?
thing I wanted to talk about for Shadows.
Yeah.
But I can't remember what it was. Never mind.
They did a much better job with being inclusive in this game. Not a great job, but a much better job.
There was the Ventru guy who didn't really show up much in a wheelchair. Tamika had a great storyline.
And she's going to LA, and that's canon for every story. And I got it tweeted out to Jason Carl, and he said he'd make a note.
I love Tamika. I
wanted to see Tamika at LA by Night.
Yeah. There was one encounter with the guy who had been a waiter, which I think he might have had. I don't know. I think that. How do I say this? Did you guys have that encounter with like the guy who used to call her stupid? Did you ever meet him by the bridge, by the little bench by the water? That was like the last night.
Oh, is that?
Are we talking coteries or shadows?
Shadows.
The guy who I think he had Down syndrome. Or
Yeah. That's like halfway through. I was like, this. I think this guy has Down syndrome.
What's his name?
Yeah,
I love that scene. Michael.
Michael, I think. Yeah.
Was it Michael?
It went by so fast. I was like, oh, and then he was gone.
Yeah.
And they could have put that one in a bit earlier, maybe. I don't know. In the game, it felt. I wasn't super. I don't know how.
It wasn't really connected to the main storyline, but it was a nice scene.
No. Yeah, that's true.
It.
Yeah.
I worked with someone who had Down syndrome, and he was awesome.
Yeah. I mean, I love the character. I just felt that maybe they could have developed that relationship a little bit more.
Yeah, like after she gets after she got fired in the beginning, maybe instead of going straight to the train, she could have like walked across the street to the cafe he waited at.
Oh yeah.
Or so we could have had that establishment.
Oh
early.
yeah. Exactly.
He doesn't show up before that, does he?
No, that was his only time he shows up.
He just kind of shows up and is like, oh, there was this guy I worked with, or went to the.
Well, he was on the way to the pharmacy to get medicine for his mom or something like that.
Also, the fucking MMA scene with the guy in the alley.
I saw you streaming that.
I just like, what is this?
It was basically the only description we got in the game of Julia using her shadow powers.
Oh yeah.
Like, I think she used them twice, which is cool.
Yeah.
But I don't know. It was very funny when she was like, "I'm on a rooftop. I'm in the shadows.
Yeah.
I'm on the floor."
But that MMA scene was so like, if you're not into that scene, it made no sense.
I don't know who Anderson Silva is.
No.
I was like, I don't understand this conversation.
That's what I wanted to talk about.
Yeah.
There are so many references in this game that I got about a tenth of them. There are so many. Like, I loved the comparison to Chicago because that's the exact kind of conspiracy it felt like. If you've watched Nicholson in that, very similar kind of character investigating, except obviously it's important that she's a journalist in this one. And then there's all these artsy references that I didn't get, and the references to who Silver, the MMA fighter, I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, they did a lot of pop culture references, which I mean, I appreciate it. It does date it a little bit, but then that's fine. It's fine. And it made the characters feel more alive. I just didn't take Julia for an MMA fan to the level where she'd actually know people. And I think also the shadow scenes. That's something we haven't touched upon, when she's in the shadow realm or when she's in the abyss.
Oh, good. I'm glad I came back for that.
Oh, welcome back. Yeah. That's
What's
something
with the moon? The moon and the abyss. I didn't get it, but it was there.
The moon thing. Creepy. I feel like that beginning part, that wasn't her talking. I feel like that was Vanda Fabian
I
talking.
thought that might be it, but like, it still doesn't give any extra context for what the fuck he's doing.
I was like, is this the Losombra antediluvian? That was my brain going. I was like, maybe this is the Losombra.
I was like, maybe Julia's a secret Malkavian. What is going on?
No, but I love the inclusion of race, and I like specifically that they called them specters, because that's really important, as opposed to calling them wraiths.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. There's a huge difference there.
Yeah. And, when she's trapped inside those harrowings, those passion plays, because as it's been established, the Losombra, when they use their shadow step, when they move through the shadows, they are entering and exiting the labyrinth of the Shadowlands. That's what they're doing. Yeah. Because there's even a description in the V5 book or in Chicago by Night where it says that they're skating across the labyrinth.
Cool.
Which is awesome.
Yeah.
And so the reason she'd be seeing specters is because specters live in the labyrinth. That's their home.
Yeah.
Whereas wraiths would never want to live there, because that's how you get sucked into oblivion and, become a specter. So
it's so close to oblivion too that it really messes with your humanity and stuff. So.
You're scared of the labyrinth as a wraith, but as a specter, you're like, it's home sweet home.
Yeah.
I like this.
Yeah. And it's I feel like this is a great game for anyone who wants to play Losombra, to play just to get into the whole everything about it. Because I don't think Chicago by Night. I think we really need more about every clan in V5 in general. Like, there needs to be more stuff.
Yeah,
I'm excited.
Right?
I'm excited. More V5 stuff.
Yeah.
V5 Werewolf. Maybe more of the games getting updated systems.
Yeah. Ooh, Mage. A game that's very easy to play.
I want to see an updated Wraith.
Oh yeah, that would be great.
That would be awesome.
That's a few years down the line, I think.
I think so. But maybe with Wraith Afterlife, with the VR when that comes out, maybe there'll be more of an interest.
I hope that game's going to be good. Going to be good.
I can't play VR. It's going to make me sick. I'll have to watch you guys play.
I want to play that. And I want to play Phantasmophobia or whatever it's called.
Yeah.
That gives me good spooky vibes. I don't know how it works, but people keep on asking me about it.
I've heard the name, but I have not seen anything about it.
Yeah.
I'm very bad at spooky games. They scare me.
VR is cool, but I'm poor, so I'm going to stick to that cardboard thing that Google made that you put on your phone. It works surprisingly well.
I have one of those
it's weird.
Yeah.
Yeah, one of those.
Yeah. Super. They are good. Man, I was going to say remember back when, but Harry, I am 100% positive you don't remember back when in the early 90s when you got the blue and red 3D glasses.
Oh, yeah.
I once went to a movie where they gave me those when I was like 6 years old.
Oh, but those were the updated version. They had special lenses in them. These were just colored plastic.
Yep.
Yeah.
If you want to see a 3D movie.
Colored plastic when I was like 6.
We had to go to 7-Eleven and get them, and had to buy a big gulp or whatever, and then it would come stuck to the side of the cup.
Yeah.
Oh God, yeah.
Yeah, you go in, like, there was also a bunch of books people made with those, and you'd watch them and oh my God, secret
and it wasn't even 3D. It was just like different wavelength illustrations.
Oh yeah, it was just slightly different. It was.
And I would wear them in front of the TV at home, and I'd pretend like I'm like, oh yeah, it's totally 3D, you guys. It's totally
like just watching non-3D things.
Don't feel too old. I did that when I was when I was smaller. When I was younger.
But I was younger than I am now.
When I was like a small child. Although, fun fact, if you turn the 3D glasses that they would give you now in a 3D movie upside down, it inverts the depth of everything, and it's so weird.
I want to try that.
Oh, whenever movie theaters open again.
Oh
Yeah.
God, if they ever open again.
If they
One
open
day.
again.
Oh
Yeah.
boy.
We should talk about Night Road eventually, though, right?
Yeah, we should
talk
Are
about
we
Night
done
Road.
with Shadows? Is there anything anyone wants to say? Because I know I've been interrupting a lot and being like, oh my God, but the
no,
thing.
same here. Same here.
It's all
Good
That's
game.
what this podcast is about.
I got
game.
to talk about Tamika going to LA and the Spectres. I'm good.
At least when you interrupt, it's about vampire. I just interrupt about it. Random shit.
No, but I like your random,
random
shit.
shit's
It's
good.
funny.
Random shit is good.
That's what I'm here for, man.
Yeah, we
I'm here
need
for
we
just
need the chaos goblin.
feeding
in the-
chaotic energy. Into
Yeah, you got to
podcasts.
interrupt us more often, Harry. Just barge in there, being like, "Hey, I may not. I have a thing."
I have something to say. Y'all gotta listen.
Well, I do now have something to say if we're going on to choice of games, because I have a long history with choice of games. Because before they made any of the cool games they're making nowadays, they made like really, really. I don't remember if they were actually good or not because I was 11. But it used to be I wasn't allowed to have a DS or anything like that or a phone, and so I had a Kindle. That was the only thing I had, and I had like a Match 3 game on that. Not even a fancy, like it was one of the black and white paper Kindles, but not paper, but simulate paper, not backlit. And I found their game Choice of Zombies. And I bought it and I played the ever-loving shit out of it. Like, because this was when zombies were like 2012, when zombies were huge, right? And so I played the crap out of it.
I'm sorry, Prim and I are doing the same thing where he's like, talking about when you were in 2012. And I was like, he was 11 in 2012.
Right, it was, 12, or well, I guess February.
But it was a long time ago. But for
my
me,
point
it's like,
being
2012, I remember
it
that.
was is that the Choice of Zombies game, I played it so much.
Yeah.
Like I knew every possible path, and because at the end it would score you over how many people you saved. And I figured, and I probably could still do it to this day. I know the exact route to save the most number of people. I know the perfect run of that game, and I could probably speed run it. I bet there's a category on speedrun.com or whatever. There was that, then there was like choice of like space something, and I did that too. And I didn't play that as much, but a bit. Choice of games, seeing that thing, I had to do a double take, and I was like, am I remembering this right? And so it sent me on quite the path.
I got 2 volumes of Choose Your Own Adventure books for Mario and Zelda back in 93. No, 92, I think. And that was my first brush with death because Mario and Luigi get eaten by Monty moles in the book. So that was creepy.
Just ripped to shreds.
They get cooked in a pot, and I was like, "Oh my god, I died!"
Eviscerated by their.
I think it was even
large
in 90 or something like that.
teeth.
Yeah. So those back in those days, you couldn't have bookmarks, or you could have bookmarks. But so I had 10 fingers in this book for every single choice I'd made, so I could go back in case I made the wrong choice. But I'm glad you got to have a Kindle when you were.
I think the most advanced thing I had when I was 11 was like one of those Pokemon Snap cameras from the Pokemon Snap game that didn't do anything but take regular pictures, and you needed film for it.
You had a camera when you were.
It looked like Pikachu on the camera, and you just go click, but it said Pokemon Snap on it.
I had the little thing that you click, and there was like a roll, so it changed pictures. So you could look at pictures. And
I remember what those.
Is that what they're called?
Yeah, something like that.
Yeah.
Let me look it up.
The only experience I have with Choose Your Own Adventure games was when I used to sneak to the library in the mid-90s, and I used to go in the kids section and read the Goosebumps Choose Your Own Adventure stories.
I remember those. I read some of those too.
They're great.
And I did exactly what Prim did. I'd be sitting on the floor and I'd be holding the pages so I could go back in case I died.
My biggest memory of them is I remember I figured them out, but the first time I ever picked one up, I was like not sure how it worked. And so I just read it normally and was like, this doesn't make any sense.
That's so cute.
Yeah.
And Josh, what about you? Choose Your Own Adventure stories?
There was a really famous series of them by a very famous game designer that I cannot remember the name of either. I think I read one. I played one. had a physical copy of it. But the game that I played the most is Fabled Lands. If anyone's played those, because there is a there was a Java like free to play app that someone had made and compiled all of the books together in this little app. And I think it used to be called Flap because it was Fabled Lands app. But now it's Jaffle, the Java Fabled Lands. Yeah. So you can buy the books, but this is the only video game version of it, as far as I'm aware. I think they might have made app versions of them, of the books by now. But you can you can download it for free, and it's like one of those old-fashioned games where it's like you have 4 different windows that you need to arrange to like get the map and your inventory and your stats and like the actual book page itself, and it was really good. I spent hours playing that, and it's really good. It's just like a classic a fantasy adventure sort of thing with like are they called Kenku, the bird crow people?
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
There's like a
Kenku,
forest of Kenku, and you have to go through those, and like they're trying to trick you, and like you have to get eaten by the forest, or you have to like find these bird people to find the magic egg or whatever.
I just downloaded it.
There are so many cool like text-based games in general. I'm very happy to see them making a return. Because I used to play the Lord of the Rings Elendor Mush. I don't recall what it's called, like multi-user shared hallucination, which is not actually as so much game as like a text-based chat room world where you can create rooms. So it's basically just a combination of rooms where you can role play.
Holy shit, it still exists.
Which one?
Looked it up. Elendor Mush.
Oh, Elendor, yeah, it still exists. I'm not sure how many people still play there.
Yeah.
But they basically had every important place in Middle-earth.
Fantasy, that's the series I played. I played one of the fighting fantasy games. Thank you, chat.
That's awesome. Yeah. I played as an orc there, and I got lost in the mines of Moria, and then I accidentally encountered the guardian outside the back door of Moria, and I got killed. Whoops. But yeah, muds and mushes are my jam, or they used to be my jam when I had way more free time. So back like 15 years ago.
Back in 2012.
Yes. Actually, 2012. I had some free time back then. I had started working, which was a huge bummer. But
you hadn't. That's when you started working. Was in
2011. I studied up until then. I worked part-time in stores, but 2011 I started working as a teacher.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I started working in 2002.
Started working in
14.
14.
That's because America is the land of the free.
Yeah. It's a land to pull yourself up by your bootstraps, call me.
My first job was a wolf handler.
Yes.
I was 14 years old and I was in charge of wolves.
How often do you get to say that?
I love it, but I'm also like, who did this to you?
It was cool. I did it to myself. I was like, I filed this is the thing, is I'm way too like, I'm a little bit too ambitious for my own good, because I filled out the application for this, forgot to send it in, sent it in late, and somehow got the internship. But then, and it ended up being awesome. I got the wolves to like me. At that point they weighed more than I did.
Yeah. I'm so glad you clarified that you sent an application, because I was about to ask you, wait, so were you actually a wolf handler, or did you just go in there and pretend to be one?
You just wandered out into the woods.
Yeah. Yep. I went to Yellowstone National Park and went and.
That's cool as fuck. Really Every time we do one of these podcasts, I find out another weird job Harry had.
Yeah.
So I was a radio host. I was a
crime scene investigator, wolf handler.
Crime scene investigator. I think crime scene cleanup, right?
Tech. No,
crime scene tech. Sorry.
Yeah.
Seriously?
Yeah.
Oh my god.
At the youngful age of 16. No, I hope not.
I was 17 by that time.
At 17, I was a waiter in a pub. I lived in the middle of fucking nowhere, so there wasn't anything else to do.
At 17, I worked as a cashier at Willie's. That that was when my life started really going bad. Cashier jobs are the best. Yeah, retail. If you want to hate people, if you want to really start despising people, retail's the way to go.
I worked.
To be fair, I was a house manager at a concert venue for like the past 2.5 years. The year before, the summer before this one, before last, and then the summer before that, I was a house manager at a place called Caramore, and they do a lot of jazz and classical, so the audience is primarily like nonagenarians and centenarians.
Jesus.
And so that taught me patience.
Oh yeah. Well, like I said, I lived in the middle of nowhere, which is where all the old people live. So I learned patience from getting orders from 80-year-olds who talk very slowly and don't know what they want. So yeah, similar.
I once had a woman call. This is so off topic. But she starts by, "Hello, I'm 90 years old. I'd like to get tickets to your jazz festival." And so I was like, "Yeah, how can I help you?" And
was she from Yonkers?
No, she was from Queens.
That was clearly a Queens accent. Come on, Huddy.
It could have been Yonkers.
No, it very well could have been Yonkers.
I don't know what Yonkers is.
And she just started rambling about she gets a knock on the door halfway through order. She's like, "Oh my goodness, this is my cleaning lady. She's such a disaster. She takes my dog out for walks. The dog's tired. He's 15 years old." Like, clearly this woman is very elderly, and her kids send a lady around to like make sure she's not dead and like walk the dog so it gets
That's how
out.
my Nana used to talk.
But she
miss her.
But she just was going off on this lady. She's like, "Yes," and she starts yelling at this lady while she's on the phone with me. "You're so rude. Just you never let me get any rest. When am I gonna rest? When I'm dead?"
Oh my God.
And then from there, she proceeds to talk about how, "Oh yeah, I'm a little bit loopy. I got hit by a truck." And it turns out she had gotten T-boned. And so she has this 15-year-old service chow chow, which are these big, mean dogs. And so she's like, "I want to buy tickets to the jazz festival." I was like, "Are you sure?" Like, I didn't want to ask her, like, "Are you sure that's a good idea?" So I was like, "Okay." And so eventually I ended up getting her those tickets. We ended up refunding them later because she didn't show up and like called angrily. And we were like, whatever. She like clearly has dementia. There's no way but
sorry.
I was looking forward to it so hard because I just couldn't wait to meet this 90-year-old woman who is with a blind service chow chow. Oh, blind and deaf, by the way. This service chow chow, like, who's servicing who? Like, this dog is ancient. And
oh man,
she never showed up. It was the biggest disappointment in my life because I so wanted to meet her. And yeah, she ended up making me, instead of like, normally what we'll do is like, we'll send people like a MapQuest link if they ask for directions. But she was like, "No, I'll write it down. You need to read it to me." So being a good customer service person, I read the MapQuest instructions to her like 4 times because she was deaf.
Jesus.
Holy shit, I remember MapQuest. My Nana was like that, but that's just because she was a drunk all the time. She used to wake up to her whiskey sour.
Oh boy.
At 11 a.m.
Night Road.
I miss her.
Night Road.
Speaking of old people,
Harry did a perfect impression of her.
Night Road.
No spoilers now, though. Again, I've only done.
It's hard to talk about Night Road without doing any spoilers.
The atmosphere is great. It is like
Harry really enjoyed.
Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
Go ahead.
I was going to say I love the atmosphere it builds. It's really fantastic. Without spoiling anything, I don't want to spoil anything at all, but. Let me put it this way. I enjoyed Choice of Zombies when I was 11. This is head and shoulders above it in terms of quality of writing.
You can tell this is what they do for a living.
You can tell they've been doing it for a while. And it's good. Yeah. I enjoy it, and I don't want to spoil anything, but you can buy a car. You have several choices of cars.
Oh, really?
Guns and swords.
I mean, I've played it. I played it for like 6 hours.
Every chapter, there's some sort of car reference I don't understand because I don't know anything about cars.
Like, okay, cool, cars. So I was like, a Honda. It's probably a Honda Civic. That's the only Honda I know.
It's the perfect game to play with a soundtrack you like. Yeah. And Google image search open because they're going to reference cars that I don't know. Like I'd never heard of an Escalade before, but now I own one.
Yeah, Cadillac Escalades. so many people around where I live totally own them.
Fancy cars.
They're the biggest.
They're huge.
Gas guzzling things.
I had the what was mine called again? Nissan Frontier. That's the one I was. It's a pickup. I can chuck a body on there.
Yeah, I know the Nissan. I know some of the muscle cars, but that's about it. This is a very the game setup is you're a courier that is a vampire. You travel around Arizona, right?
Amongst other states.
Arizona, Texas,
Nevada.
Could go into California at some point.
No Dakota, right? No, South Dakota. No. New Mexico. No.
Maybe New Mexico. Yeah. Probably.
I mean, technically New York, because that's where you get embraced. Technically, so
I guess.
I actually had Google Maps
part of the character creation phase.
I mark out.
It depends. I think it depends on what character you are, because I think Josh played a Toreador, and Devine embraces the Toreador, and I don't think Devine would have left Dallas.
No. I mean, Tremere, your sire pops up from underneath your car in New York, so they're clinging to the underside of the car. And I'm just imagining NVIDIA doing that, like.
I think the Banu Hakim was in LA, but I can't remember.
Yeah, it's you play a courier. You can choose your clan. You can choose all sorts as
you can choose all kinds of
really
things
cool.
in that game. I love it.
And because it's set modern day in a similar way to Shadows, I guess it includes a lot of sensitive political topics that you.
A refugee camp, right? No, not even a refugee, like a
migrant detention center.
Yes, a concentration camp.
You visit a concentration camp.
Yeah.
God, there are so many shitty decisions in that game that you can make. I'm like,
have you done that one yet?
No. I've only done the hospital one. I was so conflicted about the final decision. I was like, I don't know. I don't want to pick any of these. I want to help these people, but I also want money. I'm poor.
Yeah, I actually don't remember what I did in the hospital.
Oh God, the hospital. I was so distracted by the fucking double katana wielding bruja.
Oh my God, I couldn't stop laughing at that. I couldn't stop laughing.
There are some really funny bits in this game.
How can you hate a double katana wielding bruja?
It was a reference. It was a reference to a series called Highlander, because they were named Duncan and Connor, like Duncan and Connor MacLeod.
Oh, that's what it was. Like they said it so many times. I was like, I'm supposed to get something here. I don't.
Yeah, MacLeod was the one that got. I was like, yeah, this is a Highlander reference. I'm like, oh God.
I'm sorry. I used to be super into Highlander. Oh, that shit was
I watched this. I watched the third. Is the third movie the one that's in the future, or is it the second one?
I never watched one.
That's the only Highlander I've seen.
There's 4, as far as I know, and the third one's in the future.
Yeah, the future one is the one with the guys with the spiky hairs,
so
which
stupid,
is absolute garbage. And that's the only
crap.
one
It's garbage.
It's the only Highlander I've seen.
I gotta take a
TV show's
topic
good.
Again. I'm very sorry in advance, but at the same time, I'm totally not. Speaking of spiky hair in the future, this just made me think. I made my girlfriend watch the first Mad Max movie, and I hadn't seen it either.
The first one, like the one
Mad Max
with Mel Gibson.
Yeah, with Mel Gibson.
Yeah, the one that's not even post-apoc, kind of.
Yeah. It wasn't very good.
No.
No.
The second one,
people talking about it. It's saying it's really good, like
Thunderdome.
And it was like
number 2 on.
That's because everyone remembers Thunderdome. When they
Beyond
think about
Thunderdome.
Beyond Thunderdome is what they're thinking about when they say the Mad Max.
Yeah.
The first
Mad Max is weird.
The first one's weird.
The one with Lord Humongous. Or is that the third one is Beyond Thunderdome. Second one is with Lord Humongous. And the kid with the boomerang.
Yeah, the kid with the boomerang.
First one is the one with the queer-coded villain.
Lord Humongous is played by a Swede.
I don't remember the second one at all.
The second
one is the oil town that are getting attacked by buggy driving bandits led by a guy with a hockey mask called.
Oh my God! Okay, I thought that was also the first movie.
I have been very kind to you. That's the second one.
I thought those are both the first movie.
They got because
the first
buses,
movie is
right?
garbage.
Oh, it's bad. Yeah, it's bad.
The first one's really boring, mostly.
It
doesn't really make much sense.
Commit. Yeah, the first one doesn't commit.
Like if you're gonna have car crashes and car chases, you gotta like go for it. Too much of Road Warrior was like, And now we're going to spend 40 minutes on a road trip with this guy's wife and kids.
We are extremely off topic, chat. This reminds me.
I like that Josh's chat is attempting.
I am so sorry, chat.
Yeah.
I'm so sorry.
To
Chat
keep
wants us to
on
talk about
track.
vampires. Tough shit.
Yeah.
Yeah, tough shit, chat. This is a Mad Max podcast
Go watch
now.
our YouTube channels where we talk about vampires. No.
We all literally talk about vampire all the time on our channels.
Yeah.
Somehow, just when we get together, we are unable to.
We've missed each other.
Yeah.
Yeah,
We have
there
to-
was no Beckoning last month at all. was
No,
there?
there wasn't.
missed
So
it.
we've been away for too long from each other.
Yeah.
Yes.
But yeah, I this game has gotten really sterling. Is that what you say in reviews?
Sterling is good.
Sterling reviews. Is
That must be a British phrase. I don't know.
Yeah, I've never
When
heard
something's sterling, it is wonderful.
Yeah, so rather sterling
Sterling.
reviews. It's been getting good reviews
Yes.
on Steam, as far as I've been able to tell, which I think it was mixed to positive for Shadows of New York. But I think this game came out kind of like a sleeper. It snuck in and it wasn't hyped at all.
I think people
Which
probably haven't played a game like this, like we said, like we have
Yeah.
in a very long time. And I was very excited for it because I knew it would be way more expansive. And I didn't realize quite how expansive
Same.
both the mechanics and the story would be. It's a huge game with lots of
It's
decisions.
huge.
Oh
And
yeah, very big.
So
And the stat pages, the roles, the inventory, it's awesome. I think I'm playing through it now for the third time. You know,
I'm
wanna play
playing
it
it through for like the 8th time, but with the same character because they keep
Maybe I
on
shouldn't be
fucking
streaming
updating
this
it
game.
and deleting my progress.
Maybe
that
I should
happened
not
every
stream
day
it.
I streamed it. Every
Me
day.
too. Every day. And it was different missions that got like deleted progress
Yeah. Oh,
every
boy.
time.
Yep.
So I've got
Yeah.
I think
They were
my
very
current,
patch happy in the beginning. Yeah.
Yeah.
my current character is worse off in the same position than I was the first time I played through because each time I do the same choices. So I'm just like, I want to
and
get
then
to
you-
the same
and it
thing.
doesn't work.
It's
Backtrack
randomized,
yourself.
so I keep
Yeah.
failing.
Yep, that's exactly what happened to me.
Oh,
and
boy.
eventually I said about my character, I'm like, you know what?
Man, I have not gotten super far yet, but maybe I should not be streaming it because that really takes a toll on my throat.
That's,
and I don't.
Yeah, I don't recommend
I've
it.
given up recording Shadows of New York because my voice was really sore. I was doing
Oh, yeah.
role playing. I was doing the
Yeah.
thing. I can't do visual novels. There's too much reading.
I mean, Outstar was like, "Are you really gonna do it on Twitter?" I was like, "Yeah. I mean, how hard can it be?"
Just want to say I did it. It was horrible. And I couldn't talk like 2 days afterwards. I
Oh my
didn't
God,
talk,
yeah.
but
Yeah.
it's doable.
It's rough, and I think I'm just keeping myself from enjoying because it's also difficult to enjoy the game when you're reading it up because it's like when I was going to do the review of Shadows, I got like a week before. I got access to the game a week before. I just sat down and plowed through it like twice, taking notes, and I was just hyper focused on the game. Loved it. Night Road, I'm like, or actually Coteries, even when I was playing that, I was like, what happened in this game? I don't remember because I was streaming it. Like it's a different thing.
No, I think from now on I'm going to do the same thing, especially when Heart of the Forest comes out. I'm not going to record it, or I'm going to record it, but I'm not going to be like reading it out or anything.
No.
But what did everyone enjoy about Night Road so far? Because I've got thoughts on all sorts of things.
I liked being a Bruja and using celerity to run away from all my problems.
But Banu Hakim and Obfuscate.
Same,
I
but
like-
Toreador and Presence.
I like being a Tremere and being dominate. Dominate.
I like being
should we
hungry all the
dominate?
time. Is
What
basically
if dominate? It's just I actually didn't use dominate that much my second stream, but in the first one I was like dominate.
Yeah, then you realize how hungry you get when you keep
Oh
doing
yeah,
that.
yeah. For sure. I just really like the casual flashbacks. They're done in an extremely good way for exposition's sake. I think they're good. They're not very disruptive. They're short. I also really like the character art. I wish it would be saved somewhere so you could go back and look at it again.
Isn't it in the
when you were talking?
Isn't it in the not relationships? It's in one of the menus, right?
It's probably there and I missed it. That's on me.
It's a very difficult to navigate game occasionally.
It's a little tough if you're not familiar with their UI. And I did feel like a lot of times I had to go back and look at my stats, then go back to the text, and then go to look at my stats again.
They moved some of the stats that I checked most often, like hunger and like Masquerade violations and wounds because of reasons, and they moved that from the bottom of the page to the top of the page in your stats, so you don't have to scroll down, which is really useful.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
But what I ended up doing is taking a screenshot of my skills and attributes and disciplines so that I can remember which ones I'm best at.
Oh, that's smart. That's smart.
Because
that's very smart.
The game constantly asks you to do skill checks, and you can turn off the thing where it tells you what skills it uses to decide whether you pass or fail a thing. But I have that on because I want to do well.
Yeah. Absolutely.
If you want to play it hardcore, then absolutely turn it off. But like, it's a lifesaver.
You'll die.
I'm
super happy.
Yeah.
I did the hospital part. I got the achievement. Didn't cause a single disturbance. No one knew I was there. In and out, no problem.
I accidentally killed a patient.
Whoops.
I do remember that.
Everyone panicked when they were leaving the hospital because I used presents and it went wrong. And so instead of being like, follow me, I was like, follow me. And it was, it didn't go well.
Yeah. I went in, I took over the hospital computers, went out, the Bruja was like, you backstabber. I was like, hey, dude, listen, don't. And he's like, next time. Okay. And then I just walked out of the hospital.
My character had to jump out of a window and break her leg.
Oh no.
She was able to get out of there.
The second
I think
time
I've gotten
around.
a single wound. I'm not sure. I've been very careful. My character's a survivor.
I'm looking
There's
at my
gonna come a
stats right
point
now.
where you just where you just can't be careful. It's gonna come a point, I promise.
I have
It's
one
not that I'm
Masquerade
careful.
violation,
Yeah.
2 hunger,
yeah.
and no wounds. And my Masquerade violation, I'm pretty sure, is because I accidentally let a bunch of people see me fight another vampire.
Whoops.
So
I got a bugged thing from my Masquerade violation, which I was told later by one of the editors that they had actually forgotten to put something in there, a storyteller hint in there to let you know what you should have picked in order to protect the Masquerade.
Oh.
Yeah, so I got 2, and then I got a glitch where I got that scene exactly the same way again.
Yeah.
Twice in a row.
I had,
Okay.
I think
Oh,
I had
that
that as well. Earlier on, I paid someone to remove a Masquerade violation. I got one for getting a ghoul, which is, I think, inevitable. But
yeah.
I also got one earlier on that disappeared. I don't know. The game is not optimized. They are updating it. It is a pain in the ass, honestly.
Yeah.
It's like 140,000 words or something, right?
It's like way
It's
more
crazy.
than that, I think.
It's huge.
Speaking of Masquerade violations, the beginning bit where you find the white in the desert, that was one of my favorite parts of the game.
Yeah.
Because the atmosphere. I mean, it was throwing you in, right? It threw you in so well, gave you the atmosphere, you felt the desperation, all that. Those 2 people, or 3 people, I guess, who came into there, I let them live, and then I was like, I kind of, with like a wink and a nudge, was like, hey, you didn't see anything, right? And the kid's like, no, I definitely saw things. And so I'm like, God damn it, I gave you a chance. Then I had to kill him.
For me, it was just like, hey, ice, you didn't see
Dominate.
anything. Yeah, they're like, oh.
I was just a celerity boy. I ran
Mine
away
was
from my part.
mine was obfuscated up into the air duct. I just let the white kill all the people.
I was so pissed off. I came back for the white. I was like, I'm going to drain that motherfucker. Nope.
Nah.
I was like, okay.
It escapes, I think.
Diablo
Over
is a theme in the
600,000
game.
words. Jesus.
600.
Yeah, I thought it was 500,000, 600,000.
Oh, God.
it's a
That's a lot
huge
of
game.
words.
I'm trying to run the numbers if I've even written that many words in my entire life.
Probably.
Eros Arcana, that is such a good thing because you think Ventru, that's why it's so great being Tremere, because nobody thinks a Tremere has Dominate. Everyone,
And they totally should.
Yeah, because they're bad at social skills.
Yeah.
They're nerds.
Can I say something without giving spoilers away? Just a general.
I mean,
a general.
don't be too careful around that because I mean I've had time to play, so it's my fault. So
The overlay is switched apparently,
Oh.
Josh.
oh,
And Like 99% sure.
I think.
Has
I
it
think
always
Huddy,
been that way?
When you popped out, Huddy, I think Harry shifted over to the
Oh,
other
is that what
side.
happened? Okay.
I think if you just turn off your camera, it doesn't do that.
Harry's blowing
hang
up
on,
my
I should be able to
spot.
switch you. Is that there was a feature they added?
Can you do that?
I think that's in the new update, but
well, you don't have Zoom. Oh, you mean in your overlay?
no, I mean on Zoom.
Oh,
Anyway,
If Harry shuts off his camera, will I pop back over there?
Yes.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Okay.
Yes.
We'll do that.
There you go. Perfect.
And then
Cheers.
it's
that worked. Oh, wow.
Welcome back.
fixed. Okay.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. As concerning Night Road, there's so many references to just the world of darkness in general in it, which I was really appreciative of. There's references depending on mistakes that you make, because you sort of get these mistake chapters in between things. When you do something wrong, then you'll have a flashback to your sire or somebody telling you what you should be doing and how
don't do
wrong.
that.
Yeah. But it's in a really good way. And like there's mentions of the Robnos, like for example, in mine, Julian and my character were outside listening to the prince of whatever city. I think it was the old prince of Tucson, beating up a Ravnos for breaking the Masquerade. And to me, that was really cool to hear.
I love it.
About especially in a V5 game, to hear about the Ravnos, right?
Yeah.
There's a lot of mage lore later on, which I'm not going to spoil for anybody.
That's fine. That's fine.
Are you talking about Varney?
No,
Oh.
I'm talking about someone who is with her. You remember?
yeah, but it's part of Varney's.
It's part of
storyline.
that.
Yeah,
It's part of that. Yeah.
Yeah, that was so fucking cool.
Yeah. So that's like a lot of cool mage stuff in it, which also, of course, I love all of the World of Darkness systems. It's cool to have that in there as well.
There was a mention of ghosts at one point, but I never encountered any.
No,
there's
and there was a mention of
Seattle.
werewolves.
There's a mention of Seattle and how it's connected with a horrifying particular situation in the game, which I quite liked.
There's, of course, LA.
LA.
You can go to LA at the end of the game. And I think everyone knows I picked that.
That is too big of a spoiler, Huddy. Don't tell me the ending of the game.
It's not. It really doesn't hold a whole lot of weight to the end of the game.
I mean, then again, in every game except for Coteries, you can go to LA. So.
Yeah.
But fucking off to LA at the end.
Kill the vampire with a tree.
I like that.
I'm going to be disappointed if in Hearts of the Forest you can't go to LA. Poland, nah, I'm going to LA.
I will give that one a pass because really,
it's werewolf.
if you're in LA anyway, you'd have to be a Bonar or Glasswalker, right? What other tribe would be hanging out there?
I think every tribe could be in LA. LA is big.
Yeah, well, I guess if they were all living in Griffith Park, which is pretty big, it's a pretty big place.
Yeah. I think you'd find Children of Gaia there and possibly Shadow Lords there's definitely Shadow Lords in LA if you're playing with B-Day Walter.
Yeah, of course. Yeah. It's his favorite tribe, right?
For some reason. He likes to play those kind of characters. Ventru, Shadow Lord.
Well, you think if he's Ventru, you think he'd like the Silver Fangs.
Oh, but the Silver Fangs are yeah, I guess that's true.
I've always sort of considered them like the nobility of the werewolf.
Yeah, right? But the Ventru are way more competent than the Silver Fangs are. The Silver Fangs are just inbred idiots. So it's
because the hierarchy of werewolves really isn't there.
Yeah.
Sorry, we're off topic again.
No, well, I mean, we're topic adjacent. We're talking about werewolf. But I think what I really like, something that you guys touched upon now, is that there are arcs in the story of Night Road that you have the hub of Tucson, or as I said for the first 1.5 hour, Tucson.
I call
really?
Tuscan for a bit, so don't worry.
Tuscan Raiders.
Tucson.
Yeah, and someone was like, it's Tucson in the chat, and they wrote 3 different ways of saying it. I was like, I'm sorry.
Oh no, I wish I had been there. I would have.
No, it's fine. It's fine. Don't worry. Yeah, I said Tucson, but it's Tucson, and I like that that's a hub, because I was so used to coteries and shadows that I was like, oh, okay, got to stress. I got to every decision counts. Like, nah, you can walk around in Tucson and investigate stuff and then go away. So that was, I assume, we'll see, but I did get like
Josh, the classic eyebrow raise from Josh.
God, I hate it when I haven't finished a game. You guys are so smug about it.
I don't know what you mean.
I don't. I'm just a simple Englishman.
It's in my nature to be smug.
That's not what I meant, but that's funny.
Look, are you on the list of countries that we haven't invaded? I don't think so.
You have.
I don't think they've invaded Sweden.
We were technically allies with Napoleon. No, we weren't. We were supposed to be. That's why we got our new royal family, and then we just didn't. We allied with the UK.
Yeah, that's right. The Swedish family was Napoleon's.
Exactly.
Buddies.
Our royal family, the Bernadottes, were not the original royal family. They got adopted, adult adopted into the royal family.
It is of one of the 22 nations that hasn't been invaded by England at some point.
Yeah, that's true. Because Sweden was like, we want to side with France. Oh, sorry, yeah.
You have to look at the chat. What they made a command for. The vampires have run away.
Wait, what is this?
There's a beckoning off-topic command now.
Perfect. Perfect.
Just as a warning for people.
This will be very
Can
quick.
we have a counter on it as well? Can you do that?
Yeah, we need a counter.
All right. Rolling up the sleeves. Let's do this. So Sweden at the time
already wearing
during the
short sleeves.
Napoleon War.
Tank
The
top.
second Napoleon War, the third one, whatever. Sweden was like, we don't like Russia, so we want to be allies with Napoleon because Napoleon is anti-Russia. So our king is old and can't have kids. All his kids are dying. So let's have him adopt an adult man to be his heir. And they went down to France, and nobody wanted to be the king of Sweden until finally we found a general, Bonaparte. Not Bonaparte. Bernadotte, Jean-Baptiste Bernadotte, and he was like, sure, I'll be the king of Sweden. Sweden was like, yeah, Napoleon's buddy, we're gonna go to war against Russia.
Yeah, I think he was Napoleon's brother-in-law, actually.
Yeah, very closely related, very low. And then immediately as he became the king of Sweden, he was like, we'll ally with Britain. Like, what?
Yeah.
But then the war ended, so no harm, no foul. But that was a nice twist.
You were
no harm,
close.
I guess not to Napoleon.
Yeah.
Not to Napoleon who got poisoned on elbow or whatever.
Napoleon Schmoleon, it's fine.
Sure, whatever.
Yeah.
We'll get you later.
That yeah.
You invaded us twice. Well, it wasn't an invasion the first time. More like we kicked you out, then you invaded us.
Yeah, well, the Revolutionary War and the War of 1812, then you came back.
Didn't the White House get burned down in the war?
Yes, it did. They burned down the White House.
By Canadians, nonetheless.
By Canadians.
Yeah, everybody
hates us.
We got a lot of other countries to do our dirty work for us. So
yeah, you got Revolutionary War. You hired a bunch of German mercenaries, the Hessens,
and they got bodied as they tried to establish a beachhead.
Yeah. That's where we get the legend of Sleepy Hollow from. Is from supposedly he was a German Hessen.
Right.
Got his head blown off by a cannonball.
Yeah.
The funny thing is, I think in Germany, these parts of Poland, you will have. It used to be that the Hakkapellits, which were Finnish cavalry, were feared in those parts from the 30-year war, where Sweden joined because Finland was part of Sweden at that time. Because they were Hakkapellit is Hakkapelle means to cut down in Finnish. So like chop them down. That was their battle cry. So mothers would tuck your children into bed and like, be nice now, or the Hakkapellits will come and chop your head off.
Yeah.
So it's
all German folk stories are like that.
Yeah.
Yep.
Like, be good or you're gonna die.
To be fair, nothing gets me like the Ottomans being terrified of the winged hussars.
Oh God.
In Vienna.
Yeah.
The winged hussars, because the thing is, those wings on their back make noise when they charge on horseback, and their armor was always polished. So when they came over the hill, a lot of the Ottomans literally thought they were angels, like coming to smite them, and so they fucking ran.
I'd be like, hey, the angels are on our side. Either way, you die. So it's like,
yeah. It's an interesting battle.
Yeah, it's cool. History's cool.
History's fun. That's why I'm studying it. It's fun.
Yeah.
It's also way too much work, but whatever.
I mean, I even talked about, during my game stream, I even talked about Alexander the Great and his logistics. So that's it's fun.
Yes,
time.
Alexander the Great.
Why don't you ever talk to me about history? I would love to talk about Alexander the Great.
We can totally do that.
You should just make the Beckoning history class.
Yeah.
where we talk about Alexander the
Josh
Great.
is like, no, don't do that.
Don't do that. I won't know what's going on.
But back to the topic. Yeah, if you
I
want to
won't
learn
be
more
the
about
least
Alexander the
knowledgeable
Great,
person in the room for once. It'll
go
be
watch
great.
my stream
not
of
a
Night
history
Road.
buff.
I will talk. Yeah, I will talk about this with you.
Josh is like, please don't. No history.
You
no,
can
no.
do it. Just don't expect any input from me. That's all I'm going to say.
No, there are so many crazy, fun stories from history that I just like to get the reactions of people from who don't
Yeah,
know
me
anything about
too.
history. You'd be
Yeah.
more
Me
than
too.
welcome.
I know some very, very basic shit about history, and that's about it.
That
We
is
should get
perfect.
together. We should get together and play
Crusader Kings.
Crusader Kings 3. Yeah,
Yes,
we should.
let's do it. Let's
The
all get
vampire
together.
one
Yes.
too. Yeah.
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 Yes.
Princes of Darkness, right?
Yep.
Yes.
We should do that.
Is there multiplayer for that?
Oh yeah. And speaking of vampires, Night Road.
We could totally do Crusader Kings multiplayer. That would be so cool.
Oh my god.
We have stopped with.
Sorry, we're the worst.
Yeah, we are.
Oh, okay. So
nice
I
segue,
have some takes on Night Road that I'm interested to see what people think. What do
Yes.
you think of the whole options thing, where it's like there's only technically like 3 options, but it gives you 6 options for like, I will help the prince because the masquerade needs to be maintained. I will help the prince because I think he's hot. I will help Julian because I think he's hot. I will help Julian because the traditions need to be disposed of.
Yeah,
Like,
there was a lot of
there's
that.
options within options. Like you can choose your character's approach to things as well as, I guess, their political and eventual outcome.
Yeah, motivation. Like I think it's a really, really good feature.
I don't
personally.
honestly understand it, but it does help me understand like where my character is coming from. A lot of the time I've been playing like because it comes up as convictions, right? It's a scale from protect the weak to rule the weak, perpetuate your existence to regret your sins, which is an interesting one.
Yeah.
And I've been going a lot of protect the weak, which is really fun, and you get to like learn about lots of different people there. I don't know what you lot have been doing.
Typical thin blood. Personally, I was.
God. Where the hell did that come from?
I mean, on the shoe fits.
Yeah.
Oh God, I'm so sorry.
Sean is adorable and he must be protected.
I love Sean too. For a thin blood, he's a great character.
For thin bloods.
To keep him away from smooching Tremiers, apparently, but other than that, it's totally fine.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Hey man, sometimes you gotta smooch your aloof, condescending asshole neighbor, the Tremere.
Look, we may be condescending, we may be assholes, and everything else you call us. I totally agree.
Is there an end to that
Savaris
sentence?
around-
Is that where it goes?
Actually,
we
no,
may
you know
be
what,
the
period.
worst of all time.
Yeah, we may be the worst.
We may be the worst.
Like that John Mulaney bit.
Period.
I know, but hey.
No. It's like it's highly likely that we are the worst, but so what?
My favorite thing is playing Tremere because I just get to be the biggest douche nozzle. Like,
I restarted Night Road as a Tremere at one point because I got pissed off with the resetting, and I instantly went down 2 humanity points. But that's an aside. The choices thing.
Yeah. Like I said, I think it adds a lot to the character. I think if you want to commit, if you want to have that in the game, you really got to commit. Like you got to make a lot of options because you can't half-ass that. Because otherwise you're controlling the player. And I always felt that the motivations were so basic. Hot, Camarilla, not Camarilla. Easy. Then I can imagine my own reasoning behind it, but it was super easy to project the character onto this one I was playing, to be like, this is the kind of character I'm playing right now.
Yeah, that once I sort of went like, oh, this is the character I'm playing, it was easier to make those choices. In the beginning, when it started giving you choices like that, I was like, I don't know yet. I don't know where I'm at yet.
Yeah. But I think they're a great tool, and I think a storyteller could also definitely take a lesson from that and be like, all right, why are you making this like out of character? what is the motivation behind this decision? If you want to go into more character analysis of your
Yeah, I really enjoyed the role playing aspect of a choose your own adventure game, which I didn't anticipate.
Yeah.
I really enjoyed it.
Me too. My Toreador is a hacker, sexy nerd, and I solve all problems by applying
Their
my
computer?
laptop to them.
Yeah.
Which is possibly really boring sometimes because I'm like, oh man, I want to fight this dude, not hack a computer. But on the other hand, it has gotten me a lot of cool stuff, and I've seen different. I guess you get different information depending on where you go and stuff, and how you approach problems, which is interesting. I don't know. How do you approach most of the situations?
Obfuscate.
dominant.
Celerity.
I do hacking a lot too. Hacking and leadership. I've been focusing actually for Tremere. I've been focusing on that aspect, which is surprising. But like leadership, persuasion, not so much lying actually, but being like, "You're being an idiot right now. Stop it."
I've focused really hard into skills and stuff because the disciplines cost so much blood, and I can't keep doing them because every time it's like, you could do this thing or you could do this thing but with vampire powers. I'm like, I can't afford to do that. I'm gonna tear someone's throat out.
Yeah.
It's like it feels a little bit limited on the disciplines. They're like there to tempt you maybe, but I didn't use them very often.
Yeah. I can't wait for my second playthrough where I'll play a Toreador head empty, no thought character and be like, I'm just having fun.
Right now I'm playing a gangrel with a wolf, and that's pretty sweet.
Ah, cool.
That's sick, yeah.
Can you pet the wolf?
I haven't had the I think I had the opportunity to pet the wolf once.
Yeah.
Nice.
Then the game gets my approval. Then if you can pet the wolf.
I called my wolf Zayat, and she's badass and growls at people.
I like there was an option where it's like, what is your wolf, a boy or a girl, or it's a wolf? I obviously picked that one.
So here's the thing. It's so funny to me. In all sorts of games and movies and TV, wolves are like, they're so, they're standoffish, they're aggressive. They are chickens. They are enormous chickens. They run away from everything. They're terrified of humans. It's so funny to me because I'm like, I could just imagine. It just makes me think of what a real wolf would do in those situations, and just do it fuck off.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
I mean, you got the link. Yeah.
So far in the narrative, my wolf has like spied on things for me. It's like walked around various areas, and then when the shit gets very close to the fan, it's like, all right, bye.
Sounds about right.
Perfect. It's not like Metal Gear Solid 5 where you get a wolfhound that literally will have a knife in its mouth and jump up and slit people's throat at your command.
Which is the funniest thing in the world.
I love that game.
You can put him in a scuba suit.
Yes. I'm sorry for bringing that up, but it's just like such
Metal Gear Solid 5.
Oh my god, I've never played a Metal Gear.
Gameplay's great, ending's terrible, but that's Metal Gear Solid.
I can see that. That's because you haven't gone deep enough in the lore.
Is that something? Is that something in Japanese lore?
Whoops.
But
went off topic.
Oh yeah, they got the command.
Well, I'm about to add to it. Is that something in Japanese lore? Because there's a Dark Souls boss, Sif, who's also a wolf with a sword.
Dogs are cool. Dogs with swords are cool.
There's nothing in like Japanese folklore. It's just a thing. Okay.
You just need a sword dog sometime.
Yeah. It's a video game thing, I think. Yeah.
I am thinking it might be, if anything, it would be a modern reference to a children's show or like something from the 70s, 80s, because you will find a lot of that there.
Okay.
Historically, no, I don't think there have been any.
You're the only person I would ask, since like
I'm drawing a blank on it. I really don't think there are. I mean, there's Kamaitachi, which is the weasel, the scythe weasel, which is like you get really harsh whirlwind tornado things that would cut things.
Yes,
but that's a weasel. Scythe weasel, yeah, Kamaitachi.
Oh yeah,
but that's.
Scythe weasel.
I mean, I don't know.
The scythe weasel.
Yeah.
Hang on, I'm just reading chat. Is it just Auspex that costs a bunch of blood? Because I use a bunch of Auspex.
No.
Dominic costs blood every time.
Obfuscate costs blood every time you use it.
Yeah. Auspex costs like 2 points of blood.
I never paid attention to my blood, so it was a problem.
Why did I get Auspex? I should have just not gotten it then. I got 1 dot in Auspex. Ugh.
I know that everything uses blood in the game, but like I feel like I use Auspex and I go from 1 to 3. I don't know. Whatever. I'm not worried.
It's like with all these games, the mechanics are not going to be the same as a role-playing game.
Oh yeah, it's not.
It's not like it can have you roll a rouse check every time you make it.
It's based on.
I mean,
make a roll.
technically they could, but it's. I guess it's more. I guess the stakes are higher if it's constantly a matter of figuring out how much blood you're willing to part with.
Yep.
Yeah, because you could just get really lucky and you could just like never get hungry.
Yeah.
Which seems unlikely.
Every like day in the game you go up in hunger, which I quite like. It puts the pressure on in some cool ways.
That's how it used to be. Old system gave you one.
It puts the pressure on. It stopped me using abilities in one scene where I went to Biosphere 0. I had full hunger for most of that. And I couldn't feed.
I don't know what that is.
And I couldn't use my powers. And I think I probably could have got a slightly better ending, but I just had to rely on skills for that. So there wasn't any opportunity where I was like, oh, I'm going to Hulk out and do a rage. Oh, actually, I think there was one point where I spent willpower to stop that from happening. So maybe there was.
I was like at 4 hunger throughout most of it, if not at 5 hunger throughout most of the game, all the time. And I think that had something to do with the Banu Hakim, with their weakness, because the hunger would get really bad when I would learn a discipline from somebody, when I would take a little bit of blood. Then the hunger would be like all the way up.
Yeah, I mean, that's Banu Hakim thing in a nutshell. Tremere is like you have difficulty healing. So it's all different. But I think like I started relying way more on my skills after Elysium, the first Elysium, because I was like, oh shit, I'm in Elysium and I'm at hunger 4 or 5 even, I think. And then I was like, I'll just not use disciplines unless I really gotta. And but I think it's a tough balance, I guess, and I can totally see why they did it the way they did, because a lot of disciplines in previous editions of Vampire used blood, but then you had also a bigger blood pool. You would have at least 10, unless you were a Thin Blood. No, even Thin Bloods had 10. I don't think anyone had less unless you had a flaw for it. But it's a little bit like, okay, if you want to have cool disciplines, maybe... Like I like the way the Shadows did it, that there would be occasions where they would come into effect and it would have a cool scene. But if you're always having them as an option, you got to sort of weigh it off somehow. I don't know. I'm just rambling. I got distracted by a butterfly or something. But it is it's an extremely cool game. I think it has a huge replay value for it. I'm already seeing how many different options I could have gone with. And I think one thing that really jarred me was Justin showing up, though, when he did. Because I was like,
who?
Justin.
No, wasn't it Justin?
Julian?
Julian. Sorry, Julian. Because that was like, the Julian is this character from my past who I did that stuff with, and then I delivered stuff to his company, and I guess that's it. And then he shows up in my house and like, hey, yo, what's up? You got cameras in your house. Like, okay.
I kind of
Julian's like a Weasley little shit.
Yeah,
but...
he really felt like, or still feels like as I'm playing through, he feels like a proper busybody. Like you said, a Weasley.
I feel like he's paranoid. He's a visionary, but I don't think he's got quite the. Maybe gumption's not the right word, but he doesn't quite have the right stuff to follow through with it.
I took over the hospital with his software, but my motivation was not like, I'm going to cash in on this. And nor was it, I'm going to help Julian take things over. My motivation was like, these people are utterly incompetent and someone's got to fix this hospital.
Yeah, that was my motivation for that too, because there was, all the people were like anemic and like wandering around with bite marks and stuff. And...
Yeah, I'm like, who the fuck, where is the prince? Don't tell me if that comes up later. But like, I want to meet the Prince of Phoenix, which is supposed to be a bigger city than Tucson. That felt weird, but I'm sure it's going to come up later.
It might. I don't. The problem with me is that in addition to all the car nonsense, I don't know the western part of the U.S. that great. Like, of course, Tucson and Phoenix are in the same state, but there's a lot of talk of politics of the different. Like when you go to Dallas to meet Delphine or whatever her name. I can't remember
Denver,
her name.
Isn't it? For
no, it's Dallas. It's Texas.
Oh, okay. Oops.
Denver's in Colorado.
Oh, okay.
No, wrong direction.
And also The
Despine.
Last Dinosaur.
Because if you're a Toreador, you're side.
Despine. Right, Despine, right. It talks about what happened in Dallas with, and Fort Worth, which is, Americans would say close to Dallas, but Europeans will say that's like 4 hours away. With something with the SI, it's like really bad over there, and there's a lot of that talk going on in the background, and you really have to pay attention to it. And I had trouble sort of following it because for an American, and Harry might be the same way, following the geography of the West is a little harder than if Harry and I were talking about, the Queens and the Bronx and Yonkers and Staten Island.
But I kind of know I know the West decently well. I've spent some time out there.
I've spent almost no time out there.
But that's what I can really recommend. What I was doing is having Google Maps open on the side. Because
when I saw you doing that, I started doing it.
Yeah. Because I learned it from Kyle, who was writing, that he always kept Google Maps open, so he would track his character's journey. And people were doing that for Outstars when they were going on a road trip.
Oh, the campaign?
The campaign.
Oh no, why can't I remember what it's called?
Vain Pursuits.
Vain Pursuit.
Thank you.
I was on the thread thing. I was thinking about threads, but yeah, Vain Pursuit. People did that too with the map, keeping track of where they were going. For me, that really helped because after the first session, I went back and replayed everything, and I marked out where I thought everything should be. Obviously, Tucson has not a single 2-story building in the entire fucking metropolitan area. It is flat.
They don't build buildings that high out west because of earthquakes.
Oh yeah. I mean, that makes sense. I was like, I just assumed it was because of all the space. I was like,
you don't build them that high because of the earthquakes. I don't know how Japan gets away with it.
I think they have their architecture is more expensive. They build specific. They have a specific structure thing that makes the house sway instead.
Wobble physics.
The house just starts wiggling, and something's wrong.
Yeah, when the house is wiggling.
I've never been through an earthquake ever. I don't know what that's like.
I slept through
but
the
that makes more sense.
I had in England, so
what?
we had a very, very small earthquake in England, and I slept through it.
On the verge of off topic right now.
I once had an earthquake in Connecticut, and it never got, and it was so small it couldn't be detected by anything other than the most precise instrument.
I was confused because you go on top of a building you get on top of Viper to get into the. Are you outdoors when you do that? Because I assume you were on the rooftop. But it looks like a desert. But you can also look down into the nightclub. I was confused.
It's probably it has a sun, not a sunroof, but like one of those glass.
Oh yeah,
palisades or whatever they're called that hang over it.
But didn't everything also look like you were in the middle of a desert?
Well, yeah. The way out west look is it's desert. It's desert. Most of it, a lot of it.
No, but I mean they had a spell going.
Yeah, they had some obfuscate thingy to.
Oh, yeah. Just Prim, don't worry about that. You'll get to that.
Okay.
Oh, that's what he's talking about. Don't worry about that. You'll come to that.
It just felt weird, especially if there was a Nosferatu. I'm assuming that a Nosferatu wouldn't be a dead head skull, whatever. I have my thoughts about that.
There's a reason for the way the club is weird in certain parts, and you'll come to it. Don't worry.
I don't think I've got there yet.
You'll come to it.
It's not just that they, it's not that they put a desert garden. They put the illusion of a desert garden on top of it. And it also looks like everything around you.
Don't worry, you'll get to learn what that is.
You are very bad at because already you're giving me ideas what this is about. Just say,
I'm not saying what it is. I'm just saying don't worry about it.
You're not saying what it is telling me what it is.
I'm saying forget about it.
Forget about
Forget
it.
about it.
Forget about it.
Forget about it.
I have no idea what's going on.
Yeah,
But it is weird.
it is weird.
It is, and you'll get it later. Just gotta wait till later.
I'm interested to see the endings I'm gonna get, because in my playthrough I'm siding with Julian Sim, sort of. My character's like, this guy's hot, but also it's probably really useful to be a friend with.
Such a toreador.
Until he betrays me.
Dominate. Forget about it, Privigen.
Yeah. Okay.
Dominate.
Yeah, Julian always came off as being. I played it off that we had a sordid romance and he dumped me. That's how I went.
Oh my god, me too.
Yeah, I was like,
Except he was my sire.
Oh god, even worse.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. You Banu Hakim, didn't you?
Yeah. Well, I wanted to go Toreador. Chat wanted me to do Banu Hakim.
I even was like, Huddy, don't take Banu Hakim. I'm gonna take Banu Hakim, and you weren't watching. And then Tremere was available, so.
Because you started streaming and I was still streaming.
Yeah. But because I couldn't get the DLC. Turns out it was already downloaded, so no problem. Maybe I should try playing as a Thin Blood. See if I can maybe change my mind.
You can't play as a Thin Blood. You can play as a Caitiff. They're different. Yeah, wrinkly bowl.
No, they're not the same thing.
They're different, and they have.
Look, Caitiff is closer to Kane. Okay.
Yeah, Caitiff are better than you, actually.
Yeah. Actually.
No, Caitiff are better than Thin Bloods. That's what you're saying.
Well, I mean, let's see who ends up with a curse at the end of the day. That's all I'm saying.
Hey, sometimes curses are just fun. They add spice to life.
Yeah, exactly.
What's life without pissing off an old mummy or something, you know?
Ask not what the curse will do for you.
I'm not gonna turn off my camera, but I really have to close my window because the synth pop is starting to put me on edge.
Oh, okay.
That's fine.
I can feel it in my teeth.
We've been streaming for almost 2 hours.
Yeah,
minutes.
we should.
Oh yeah. Oh god.
Yeah, we rambled.
We should probably wrap it up.
How much of this is vampires? How much of this is entirely off topic?
Probably 60-40.
I would say 60-40 sounds right.
Everything is Vampire Man.
Yeah, what are you talking about? We're perfect.
Wow.
Yeah. Should we? Because we haven't talked about Heart of the Forest, and I feel like because that game is coming out and it's coming out the 13th.
Yeah.
We've only played the demo, and someone hasn't even played the demo.
Harry.
Maybe we should talk about it next time together with
another time.
Oh yeah. Next time as well as Ventru, because I'm getting the feeling that Ventru is something we could drag on for 3 hours. From what I'm hearing from you guys, maybe we shouldn't.
What about Ventru?
The book.
The Ventru clan novel.
Yeah.
Oh, I have so much to say about that.
I figured.
So much.
So maybe half Heart of the Forest and Ventru clan novel next time.
Yeah, I could do that.
If we fit one of those things in, I'll be impressed.
Yeah. And in case you're a reviewer, they're throwing review copies of Hearts of the Forest on Twitter @Juice, so don't miss that opportunity. They were very blunt about it on Twitter.
Yeah. They were like, please DM us.
Yeah, and they were like, so what's your auspice, Primitive? And they asked me on Twitter. I was like, well, I'm this. But what are you in the game? I was like, I'm not supposed to talk about the game. It's like, we know you're playing it. I'm like, okay, well, there's an embargo in place.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean,
yeah. Is there anything people want to say before we wrap up Night Road?
It's a good game. Get it.
Yeah, buy it. It makes me really excited. I have something to say. It makes me really excited for Out for Blood, which is the next one coming, where you play a hunter. It'll be nice to switch it around and be hunting them blank bodies. And Parliament of Knives is also, I think it's a Dark Ages.
Oh, is it?
Right?
No, it's not. It's in Canada.
It's not?
It's you have to. You're the child of a kindred. You're the grandchild of the prince of a city, and the prince disappears. So your sire takes over, and you have to kind of be their patsy.
Okay,
goon.
I thought it was a Dark Ages story. Okay, good.
I don't think it is. No, I think they're all modern.
Awesome.
Might be wrong. Might be wrong. It was a while back I read it, but I read about it.
But it makes me super excited to see what they can do now that they've done this and they've sort of ironed out a lot of patches all right after each other to see what they'll do with Hunters and what they'll do with Parliament of Knives.
Yeah.
That'll be fun.
Yeah, I'm super excited.
I'm looking forward to it as well. Yeah. All right.
That's all I have to say.
Thank you, everyone, for listening. If you're still paying attention, or maybe you're researching wolves and finding out what...
Or Alexander the Great.
Yeah, Alexander the Great. Could be anything, really, at this point. Everyone, tell us where you can find your stuff that you do. Let's start with Huddy.
You can find all the stuff I do at Huddy Funchland on YouTube. I do World of Darkness lore. I've just started doing Changeling the Dreaming lore, so I do World of Darkness lore videos for all the 5 major games for World of Darkness, and I do lots of LA by Night videos. So if you like LA by Night, that's my channel's where you should go. That's it.
Prem.
Yes. Well, I have sad news. I had to close down my Friendster account. Friendster is apparently no longer a thing.
Bummer.
But you can find me on YouTube, like talking about 2012.
You're so weird.
I know.
Were you waiting the whole time for to say that?
Yes. You can find me on YouTube, The Primogen, where I upload weekly lore videos and the occasional spam of Patreon lore videos, because that's a thing that I do for my patrons. It's still World of Darkness related. And I pretty much, that's all I do right now. I'm very busy running a bunch of stuff, but that's where you find me, on YouTube. And you can find me on Twitter, but don't follow me on Twitter. I just post a lot of garbage there. Same name, The Primogen.
It's Twitter, so I
Yeah.
yeah.
Fair enough. Redundant comment about that. It's not as good as Friendster, though.
Oh my god.
Harry.
Yes. Harry Slubrycat on YouTube. Harry_Wyckoff, WICKOFF on Twitter. Saratoga by Night podcast. Listen to that. That's my big thing. Listen to that. It's good. It's fun. We have a good time.
Dominate. Listen
On every podcast platform. You can find it everywhere.
Sweet. And I'm Josh. This is my YouTube/Twitch channel that you will be watching this on, probably, unless you're watching it on Primogen's channel, in which case you're not.
Smooth.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. That's my style.
Well rehearsed. Yeah.
Seamless. Oh, fuck. Yeah.
You've been at this for how many years?
Oh, you know what it is? It's because in at 9 o'clock, I'm starting GMing Leech, and I'm already panicking about it. I've got
oh no!
Don't panic. It's so good, and the players are so good.
They're incredible. They've all, aside from one of them, never played Vampire before this, and I think they're great. And they're doing a really dark story. So if you're into like dark, grim body and personal horror, then go watch Table Stories Leech, which I am GMing, or you can listen to the podcast Stitch of Fate, which is about New York gangsters. It's a lot more lighthearted.
The Drag Pack.
The Drag
The Drag Pack.
The Drag Pack. I can't do his voice, but it's so good.
No, it's so good though.
The Drag Pack. Sort of.
Yeah,
Nobody cares about your spicy dungeon masters.
I love him. Oh my
God, so good.
Oh man.
Yeah.
I was laughing the whole way home from
Yeah.
work when I was listening. Like, you guys, you have such a great dynamic too in that one.
And how that I know is it David who plays Duke?
Oh yeah, Bubba Knott.
Yeah, but I know I didn't want to call. I didn't want to
David
call.
I get
him
the
that.
feeling that you find me uncomfortable to be around.
That
did you
voice
know?
that he does. He
Yeah.
drops that octave, and it's
God.
so smooth.
Oh, he unnerves me just listening.
Yeah, he's
I
like
get,
agita. A serial killer, like for realies.
Yeah. Oh God, great role playing from everyone.
Yeah.
I know.
Yeah,
really
Josh is doing so much cool stuff. Like, I'm damn proud of you, man. Seriously, everyone in the Beckoning should be super proud of Josh.
Yeah.
Thank you so
Yes.
much. Yeah.
And I can't wait to watch Leech later tonight.
Harry though also. Saratoga
Yes.
by Night. Go
Yeah.
check that out. It's great stuff.
Yeah, I got to add that to my list. I'm
It's
trying to
fun.
catch up on
Season
the
1 is very
stuff.
rough around the edges because we were recording in an echoey room with a blue snowball in an abandoned classroom in our college. Well,
As do all great stories start there, and so it's fun.
Season 3 is a lot of fun. We have We have 2 parties, one Sabat pack,
Yeah.
one Anarch coterie, and they're chasing each other.
And there's
It's
time travel.
There was some time travel towards the end of season 1.
Well, that was Was that season 1? Oh, yeah.
Yeah, season 1 ends with time travel. Season 2 is set in the 1700s. And season
that's fun.
3 is set in 2019.
That's fun.
I love that
Season
idea.
2 is Hunter the Vigil.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, I love that idea. I need to catch up. But for everyone else out there, links will be provided where you can find them. And until next time, goodbye. Goodbye, everyone.
Bye.
Bye.